TV, FoxSports.com, Fox Soccer, FSN, and Fox Sports, the greatest collection of sports properties in the world.
We are Fox Sports.
Stars here on Fox Saturday Baseball. We're in the Lone Star State, where the Rangers are in a battle for the AL West. Today, they look to inch closer to defending their pennant against the Oakland A's. While in Motown, Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers also have their eyes set on October. But they'll have their hands full against Joe Mauer and the Twins. And in Chi-Town, the White Sox and Indians are running out of time to make one last playoff push. Today, one of them takes a step closer to elimination. It's a star-studded afternoon on Fox Saturday Baseball, and it starts right now.
Welcome to the Chevrolet pregame show on Fox. We are at the home of the defending American League champs, the Texas Rangers, who are in a serious dogfight to win the AL West. Both Texas and the LA Angels won again last night, so the Rangers' lead is still 2.5 games with 2.5 weeks to go. Hi, everybody. I am Chris Rose, and welcome to Arlington, Texas. This is Fox Saturday Baseball. Last night, the Rangers erupted for 13 runs, their most in a single game since July 25th. Here in Game 2 of their series against the Oakland A's, they'll throw out one of their all-star starters, the right-hander Alexei Ogando, who makes his first start in the month of September. Others are going to be sent off to Detroit to check out the hottest team in the bigs, Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers, who've won 7 in a row as they take on the Twins. Obviously, it is Star Wars Day, so Miguel Cabrera is going to have a few extra teammates this afternoon in the dugout. And the rest of you are off to the Windy City to check out the battle for second in the Central between the Tribe and the White Sox. A pair of all-stars are on display as Drupal Cabrera of Cleveland and Paul Konerko of the Southsiders. But back here in Texas, the pitching staff's been great this year. An AL best 18 shutouts, but make no mistake, this team is best known for the way it swings the lumber. And it's led by the face of the franchise, Michael Young.
Young having an outstanding season. That ball is gone.
There aren't many hitters in the league that can hit better than Michael Young.
Michael Young with another RBI. A Jeff Street home run for Michael Young.
And the 7-time All-Star good enough to join us live here on Fox Saturday Baseball. Michael, what are the emotions of playing in a pennant race with you and the Angels? Is it fun? Is it nerve-wracking?
It's fun. I mean, except for the postseason, this is the best part of the season where you can make that final push and see if you get the opportunity to compete for a world championship.
Be honest, how much scoreboard watching, or do you go home last night after you're wrapped up and go watch the Angels and the Yankees play? What do you do?
I watch a lot of the West Coast games that we're done all season long, but I mean, obviously you're going to find out what's going on around the league right now in both leagues. That's just the fun part of the season for everybody involved.
It took you a decade to get to the postseason party. Are you now hungrier because you've had a taste? You made it all the way to Game 5 of the World Series last year?
I think so. I think I know what it means when everyone says the postseason play is addicting. You understand what it means now. It really is the only place to play.
How about for you personally? We didn't even know if you'd still be in a Ranger uniform heading into the year. Then we didn't know how many at-bats you'd get. Well, now you've made the All-Star team. You're contending for a batting crown. On a personal level, how satisfying has this been?
It's been okay. I mean, I treat it almost like every other season, to be honest with you. I try to approach each game individually and make sure my priorities are right, which is right now trying to get us to the postseason.
All right, finally, I know that you have established the Michael Young Family Foundation. Tomorrow you have your kickoff tournament, a little bowling event. Now, which of your teammates is coming out dressed with an embroidered shirt, has the shoes buffed, maybe bringing his own bowling ball and everything?
I would say Kinsler's probably good for all those things, all of the above. He'll probably be the best bowler, too. So he's probably going to steal the show.
And he's going to be talking smack, too.
Nonstop, yeah.
How are you at bowling?
Whatever. One in the gutter, one down the middle.
I'm not buying that.
I'm a pretty standard bowler, man. Like, what's 140, 150?
That's good. That's way better than average.
That's terrible.
It's the one time a guy like you doesn't mind getting a few strikes on him, too. Michael, thank you for the time. Appreciate it. All right, coming up next here on Fox Saturday Baseball, we're going to get you out to the yard. Some of you are going to stay right here in Arlington, Houston, Texas, to check out Game 2 between the Rangers and the A's for the AL champs, extend their lead over the Angels in the West. Others are off to Motown to see if the Tigers could make it 8 straight wins overall as they take on the Twins. The rest of you get the Indians and the Sox from the South Side. Out to the yard next on Fox.
In for Game 2 of the series, the Oakland A's and the Texas Rangers, the AL West standings. It is tight. The Rangers with a 2.5 game lead over the Angels. Rangers with a 2.5 game lead over the Angels. Texas has 17 games left to play. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Glenn Kuiper. Last night, the Texas Rangers defeated the Oakland A's in Game 1 of the series, and they beat them for the 9th consecutive time, and that's how they held on to that 2.5 game lead in the AL West. Let's bring in my broadcast partner for today, Tom Grieve. And Tom, Texas has been in first place since May 15th, but they haven't been able to shake the Angels, who are starting to play very well.
They really are. And the Rangers had built a 7-game lead, but the Angels have battled back. The Angels are a team built on their starting pitching. They're starting to swing the bats, and they've really made a race out of it.
Today's pitching matchup, interesting. Alexei Ogando, Trevor Cahill, they were both great early, not so great lately.
No, they have to get back to the basics. They have to regain their confidence. In Ogando's case, he has to learn how to feature his fastball, number one, but also work in his off-speed pitches. In Cahill's case, he has to get back to his sinker and be able to throw it for strikes.
And for Ogando, he'd like to be part of that postseason rotation for Texas. It is baseball's only division race, and it is the AL West. The Rangers and the Angels, they will battle right down to the wire. Here in Arlington, the ballgame's coming up next. It's the A's and the Rangers on Fox Saturday Baseball. In Arlington for Game 2 of the series. Here's today's starting lineup for the Oakland A's. It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Very fine rookie second baseman Jamal Weeks will lead it off, followed by Cliff Pennington, Hideki Matsui, Willingham in the cleanup spot. Then it's DeJesus, Sweeney, Allen, Suzuki, and Sogar. That lineup will face the right-hander Alexi Ogando. Terrific start this year, struggling as of late. He has won 12 games, ERA of 3.66. Opponent's batting average is low, and it's his first time as a starting pitcher. And now our sprint pitcher profile. Tom, what do you got?
Well, with Alexi Ogando, I think he's got to get back to the basics, regain his confidence. He needs to obviously feature his fastball, but improve the command of his fastball. Throw it where he wants to, and then utilize his off-speed pitches. He's trying to develop a changeup. He has a pretty good slider, but it all starts with fastball command and then mix in the off-speed pitches to go along with it.
So Ogando finishes up his warm-up tosses, and the opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. So the first place Texas Rangers with their 2.5 game lead over the Angels in the AL West. Angels will play tonight. So the Rangers will try to make their statement earlier in the day as Jamal Weeks steps in. And the A's are just trying to figure out a way to beat the Rangers. As we said in our open, the Rangers have beat the Athletics 9 consecutive times. So the very fine young second baseman Jamal Weeks steps in. Ogando is ready, and so are we for the start of Game 2. First pitch is a fastball for a strike.
Now, one thing with Ogando that hasn't changed all season long is the velocity on his fastball. He hasn't lost any velocity. He has lost some command, but the strength of his arm has been there from day one. And you can see it right off the bat today with a 95 followed by a 97 mile-per-hour fastball. Good thing for Ogando is he's thrown 2 strikes.
Well, there's the great start. And he was an all-star this year. 10-3, 2.72 ERA. And Jamal Weeks drops one into left center field, so that's how this ball game starts. So Weeks with a base hit. And that'll bring up Cliff Pennington.
Well, he ran the count to 0-2. He didn't make a bad pitch. He threw the ball in. He jammed Weeks. Weeks was able to loop it over shortstop for a base hit.
Couple of switch hitters at the top of the A's lineup in Weeks and Pennington. No Coco Crisp today. Crisp has been nursing a sore foot. You could tell in the game last night he was not running well at all, so he is not in the lineup today. First pitch, Weeks is going. Throw to second base is in time, and Weeks is out. Yorvi Torrealba got a good pitch to throw on, and he throws out Weeks.
Yeah, that Weeks, it looked like, had a decent jump. Torrealba was in position to throw this ball almost before he caught it. Delivered it quickly and very accurately. To watch him shift his feet, he's in position to throw. Makes a perfect throw right on the money. And it had to be a quick release and a perfect throw. Otherwise, there wasn't going to be much chance to throw Weeks out.
Well, I said a good pitch to throw on, and I stand corrected. It was not a great pitch to throw on. He had to kind of reach back, and he did a nice job.
Yeah, he really got in position to throw that ball. Shifted his feet quickly.
Well, one thing Jamal Weeks does, now he's going to be a very good base stealer, Tom, but he slides a little late. See how late he slides?
Well, he might have slid a little bit late. You can tell by how far he went by the bag, and that might have allowed the infielder to make the tag because he was a little bit higher when he made it.
Hamilton backing over. He's got it. So 2 outs here in the top of the first. The defense for the Rangers. Hamilton, Andy Chavez, and Murphy in the outfield. Beltre, Andrus, Kinsler, Moreland on the infield. Ogando is the pitcher. Torrealba is the catcher. So 2 outs for Hideki Matsui. But talking about Weeks in that slide, Tom, he's got 21 stolen bases this year, but he has overslid the bag 3 times and been tagged out after he was called safe and then overslid the bag.
Yeah, and that obviously can be a problem. And he slid not past the bag that time, but well over the bag. And because he slid late, his body was a little bit higher off the ground when that tag was made. Had he slid earlier, possibly he might have slid under the tag, would have a better chance of getting underneath the tag anyway. I guess basically that boiled down to that was a terrific throw by Torrealba.
264, 12 homers, 71 RBIs for Hideki Matsui. Shallow left field. Hamilton on the move, goes into a slide, and he caught it. Very nice play by Josh Hamilton. He's got a little extra bounce in his step today. He's a new papa. We'll talk about that when we come back. No score after a half an inning.
That's where I wanna go. I want a cowboy shirt and a Mexican flirt.
Starting lineup for the Texas Rangers. That's brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Kinsler, Andrews, Hamilton, Young, Beltre, Murphy, Torrealba, Moreland, Chavez. Nothing like having a red-hot hitter at the top of your lineup, and Ian Kinsler is a red-hot hitter. 8 games in the month of September. He's hit .364. He's got 7 home runs and 11 RBIs. He's got 15 home runs since the All-Star break. That's the most in the American League. So Kinsler in the leadoff spot. He's red hot, and he's sitting at 28 home runs on the season. So Kinsler steps in. He'll be followed by Andrus and then Hamilton. So Trevor Cahill kicks, and his first pitch is a bit outside. One and one the count. Trevor Cahill, 10-13 on the year. The ERA 4.20. We'll talk about where he's at right now compared to where he was at the beginning of the year. Here's our sprint pitcher profile on Cahill.
Well, his best pitch is his sinker, and I think he has to get back to the sinker, but probably more importantly, don't overthrow it so that he can command it within the strike zone. If he overthrows it, it straightens out a little bit, becomes a much easier pitch to hit. Sometimes less is a little bit better instead of more. Relax, throw your sinker, have trust in it, and if you keep it down in the strike zone, you'll get the ground balls you're accustomed to getting.
Full count to Kinsler, 28 homers and 71 RBIs for the second baseman. And that one's hit on the ground toward Eric Sogard. Throws in time. So one out here in the bottom of the first. Defensively for the A's, Willingham, Sweeney, and DeJesus in the outfield. Sogard, Pennington, Weeks, and Allen on the infield. Kurt Suzuki catching Trevor Cahill. Cahill just 23 years old, so still a very young man. The story for Cahill, though, Tom, is on the 9th of May, Trevor Cahill, right here in Arlington, beat the Rangers. And after that win, he was 6-0 with a 1.72 ERA, and he was dealing. And he was pitching as well as anybody in the American League. The problem is, since that start, he's gone 4-13 with an ERA over 5, and it's hard to figure out.
Yeah, and you know, he's a young pitcher, as you said. He's only 23 years old. Last year he was 18-8 with an ERA under 3, so he's enjoyed a lot of success. Now he's at an early point in his career where he has to battle out of this little rut that he's in and regain the form that he had earlier.
He was an all-star last year.
Sure.
So this is his 3rd full season in the A's rotation. But a very talented young man, and high hopes for him. The A's gave him a long-term contract. Did that a little bit earlier this year.
Well, he's always pitched pretty well against the Rangers.
Yeah.
In fact, in 13 starts, he's 8-4. He's pitched well in this ballpark, too. Not always known as a hitter's park, but he's had 5 pretty good starts against the Rangers in this ballpark.
Two pitches dribbled foul. Well, it's his 5th start this year against Texas. He made 5 starts last year against them, and 4 starts in 09. So Rangers hitters know what they're going to get from Trevor Cahill. And that's a good sinker there by Cahill, and he gets the strikeout.
And you can know a pitcher very well, but if he makes a pitch like this, there's not much you can do about it. You can know a pitcher's going to throw a sinker, but when he throws one like that tails in and down and executes his pitch, then you're going to have a hard time hitting against him, whether you've seen him once or whether you've seen him 15 times. So that's why I think you can be familiar with a pitcher, but if he's making his pitches and throwing his game, then it's going to be very difficult to hit him anyway.
Josh Hamilton hitting .298, 19 homers, 80 RBIs. Made a nice play to end the top of the 1st inning. And last night he became a father for the 4th time. Stella Faith. So Stella Faith Hamilton.
That's Josh's 4th daughter.
Right. So good luck with that, huh?
Yeah, well, that's kind of a
come
nice,
wedding time.
Nice situation and a tough situation. Got 4 beautiful daughters. Katie's is his wife.
Congratulations.
And I got a feeling he's going to be doing a lot of things that they want to do over the next 15 or 20 years, which is okay.
This one center field, but Sweeney gets back there. He's got it side retired. Trevor Cahill has a 3-up, 3-down inning. We've played 1 in Arlington. No score. by Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Second inning from Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. The good folks from this area will tell you it's been a brutally hot summer, but it's been a nice weekend so far, and it's a beautiful day today. As Alexi Agano goes back to work, he'll face Willingham, DeJesus, and Sweeney here in the second inning. Good year power-wise for Willingham with 24 home runs and 84 runs batted in. And he hits a shot right back up the middle, and that's a base hit.
That one came in from Ogando at 95 miles an hour and went back at him at about 105 miles an hour. Lucky he's agile. See how close this ball comes to him. Whoa. That ball was right at his head. He had his glove up, and he ducked underneath it. Those are scary, scary situations for a pitcher. Less than 60 feet away, not anticipating that ball coming at him.
So David DeJesus steps in. .230 average with 8 homers, 42 runs batted in. And he bunts. Torrealba picks it up, throws to first, and he throws it away. And that's going to allow Willingham to go to third. DeJesus scrambles back to first, and the A's have first and third with nobody out. So it's going to be an error on Yorvi Torrealba.
It was going to be a tough play for Torrealba. The ball rolls pretty far out in front of the plate. But if he makes a throw on the infield side of the bag, he's got a pretty good chance to get DeJesus. As it was, the throw was into the runner. There's nothing Moreland could do to catch the ball.
Early scoring opportunity for the Athletics as Sweeney steps in. Well, the A's have made the most errors in the American League. The Rangers have made the second most. And that's a surprise because I think both teams felt like coming into the season that defense would be one of their better areas and not a problem area.
Oh, when you look at the Rangers position by position and you see Beltre, Andrus, Kinsler, Hamilton in the outfield, Cruz when he's playing in the outfield, you see a lot of all the catchers, very good defensive players. There's been times when there's been a lot of errors made, but there really isn't a player that you look at and say there's a weak link defensively. Several of them are well above average defensive players.
Well, the Rangers have been able to help out the error situation by turning a lot of double plays, and that certainly helps them.
They've definitely done that. Matt Harrison, when he pitches, gets a lot of double plays. C.J. Wilson, the same thing. That's one of those balls. He's out in front of it and hit it right off the cupped part of the bat, which chips that piece right off the end of the bat.
Oh, 0-2 to Sweeney. Ogando goes upstairs, 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, and for Alexi Ogando, it's more than just throwing a strike with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. It's still, with big league hitters, making a pitch, keeping it on the corners, keeping it down, keeping it away from the middle of the plate. Big league hitters will have success if the location of the pitch is to their liking.
So a single and an error. The A's in business here. By month for Sweeney. Really has not got a lot of regular playing time for the Athletics.
Yeah, based on those numbers, September ought to be a good month for him.
They've gone with Willingham, Crisp, and DeJesus for most of the season. But although 3 of those guys will be free agents at the end of the year, Sweeney not the case. So may see more of him next year. There's a shot down the right field line, and that's going to get Willingham home. DeJesus headed for third. Slipping is Murphy in the outfield, and they're going to wave home DeJesus. The throw to the plate is just a bit late. DeJesus gets in ahead. Sweeney goes to third, and it's 2-0 Athletics. Murphy slipped when he went to pick it up, and Mike Gallego, the third base coach, may have saw that and decided, let's keep DeJesus moving.
Well, the Ranger outfielders can really throw and throw accurately, and so can Andrus and so can Kinsler. And this is a beautiful relay play and a beautiful throw. It's just DeJesus had a little too much speed and he was safe. A nice recovery by Murphy after he slipped. 2 good relay throws, but aggressive base running by the A's, and DeJesus slides in safely.
Swing and a miss by Brandon Allen.
And then for Ogando, it was kind of what we were talking about earlier, command within the strike zone. It was a high slider inside part of the plate, but still a pretty good pitch for Sweeney to hit.
So it gives Sweeney a double and 2 RBIs. Goes to third on the throw. And 0-2 to Brandon Allen. Infield all the way in now for Texas.
Ball goes down the line. You'll see Murphy go to get this ball and slip, but he recovers quickly. Makes a strong throw to Kinsler. Aggressive base running, and DeJesus needed every bit of speed that he had to beat that excellent throw from Kinsler.
High strike. Allen disagrees with Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, but Ogando gets the big strikeout, and that's out number 1.
Yeah, that really was a slider that Ogando kind of dropped his elbow. The slider flattens out a little bit, stays right at the top of the strike zone, and he gets the call on that pitch. Ogando's best slider, when he throws his best slider, is down and in, slightly out of the strike zone to a left-hand hitter. Gets a lot of swings and misses at that pitch. And although he's throwing the ball well today, there's a lot of pitches belt high and around the middle of the plate.
That hit by Sweeney has been changed from a double to a triple. So Sweeney gets his third triple of the year. 1-0 to Kurt Suzuki. And now 2-0. On deck is a left-handed hitter Eric Sogard. Suzuki with 13 home runs and 39 runs batted in. Vinny Chavez toward right center. He's got it. Sweeney's tagging. The throw is just a bit late. Sweeney slides in just ahead of the throw from Chavez, and it makes it a 3-0 game as Kurt Suzuki gets the sacrifice fly in his 40th RBI.
A strong throw from Chavez, and if he's got a slower runner at third base, he's got a shot. Sweeney's going to tag up, and Sweeney has pretty solid speed. But the one-hop throw was an accurate throw, and with a slower runner who probably would have been sent on that ball because it was relatively deep, Chavez would have had a shot.
So 2 outs for Sogard. A's have scored 3 times here in the second inning. Scott Sizemore is the A's regular third baseman. He's getting the afternoon off, so Sogard getting the start. So the error by Torrealba, which was not necessarily a routine play, but certainly a play he should have made, cost a run here, an unearned run.
Yeah, that was a decision by the scorer. I've seen that called, and so have you, Glenn, both ways, where you get a hit on the bunt and an error on the throw. It's going to be a close play at first base, but I think in the eyes of the scorer, he felt that if Torrealba had made an accurate throw, he would have had DeJesus at first base.
Line drive toward right. Murphy on the run makes the catch. Side retired. A 3-spot for the Athletics with a little help on the air, but Ryan Sweeney with a 2-run triple. 3-0 Athletics. Refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. A's scored 3 times in the top of the second inning. So Texas will play from behind this afternoon. I don't think they get too terribly concerned about that, do the Rangers, with the kind of offense they have. They were down 2-0 after a half an inning in last night's game, came back and won 13-4. So Michael Young leading things off. Certainly appreciate Michael Young with Chris Rose down on the field during the pregame show. And it was live, folks. It wasn't taped. So he was joining us just a couple minutes before first pitch.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think if there's 10 players in baseball that you can count on for that kind of an interview, Michael is obviously one of them.
So Michael Young goes after it. Second strikeout for Cahill.
Check the sequence of pitches by Cahill. Good sinker on the outside corner for strike one. High sinker. Another sinker on the outside corner. And then a slider very well located on the outside corner. But we talked earlier in the game about regaining his sinker, regaining his command, and through 4 hitters, that's exactly what you've seen with a couple of strikeouts. Good sinkers and good command of it.
That one hit high down the right field line and foul. So 1-1 the count to Adrian Beltre. Rangers thrilled to have him back in their lineup.
A lot of times when you see a pitcher get to the big leagues, as Cahill did when he was 21, enjoy success like he did last year with 18 wins at age 22, he's a 96-mile-an-hour guy that overpowers hitters. In Cahill's case, it's the exact opposite. He was a rarity, a 21-year-old when he got to the big leagues, with excellent command of a sinker and a real know-how as far as pitching goes that's rare in someone his age. He's not a guy that will overpower you with a mid-90s fastball. He's got plenty of velocity in the low 90s, but he does it with pitching know-how.
Two to Beltre. David Murphy in the on-deck circle. That one is high.
Well, as he's been struggling, he's kind of lost command of his sinker, and you just got to figure out how to regain it. Go back to what's made him successful.
Weeks cannot get it, and it's going to be a base hit for Beltre. So that's the first hit in the game for the Rangers.
Yeah, Beltre was out of the lineup for the Rangers for almost 6 weeks. He had a setback in the middle when he re-injured his hamstring. Ron Washington has urged him not to overdo it, which is difficult for a guy like Beltre, who is an all-out type of player. But he's trying to manage that hamstring. He's not 100%. He's okay to play. But it's still up to him to manage it while he's running the bases. First time he got on base after 6 weeks on the disabled list, he had to score from first on a double.
Of course.
So, you know, that's the way it is. And he passed that test, and I guess it's hopefully all downhill from there for Adrian.
Well, the Rangers also dealing with the injury to Nelson Cruz. They hope to get him back at some point, which they will, but with his hamstring history, you got to be extra careful with him as well.
And I think that's what the Rangers are worried about. They know that if there's any type of aggravation of it, that's it for the season. And so it's kind of a difficult situation. You want him back in the lineup as quickly as possible, yet at the same time, you want him to take as much time so that when he does come back, he's 100% healthy.
Allen throws it to second, and they get the out there. What he probably should have done was stepped on the bag at first and threw it to second, and he would have had an easy double play, but he spun around and threw it to second.
Yeah, I think he gets a little bit confused right here when he bobbled the ball. Everything's rushing a little bit now. Doesn't realize where Beltre is, and you're exactly right, Glenn. All he had to do is either tag Beltre, tag the base, and get Beltre to run down.
But he had 2 outs within about 3 feet of him.
Yeah, he did. He turned it into 1.
So Murphy is aboard on the fielder's choice. 2 outs. Here's Torey Alba.
That's one that doesn't show up in the scorecard as an error. Maybe a little bit of a mental error, though.
Well, and against the Rangers, you got to grab every out you can.
Yeah, you're right.
Their offense is so good.
You're right. You don't want to give good offenses that extra out.
In last night's game, which again was a 13-4 Rangers win. Now it sounds like a blowout, and it certainly was at the end. But the A's made 3 errors, and that led to 5 unearned runs.
There were also 2 plays that weren't errors that were major contributors too.
Pennington will go the short way to Weeks. Side retired. We'll return to Arlington after a word from your local Fox stations. We'll see Jamal Weeks leading things off when we come back. First pitch at the top of the third to the leadoff man, Jemiah Weeks, is in first strike. Weeks had a base hit in the first inning. High fastball, swings and misses. Weeks is a hot hitter right now. He's got 10 hits in his last 15 at bats. His average all the way up to 307. And it looks like Weeks can be a good player for a long time. In fact, if he had played the whole season, he may be in that talk of the American League Rookie of the Year. Swing and a miss. Good pitch there by Ogando. Weeks strikes out. So one out. It's time now for a direct TV game break. Chris Rose is downstairs. Chris, how are you?
Great, Glenn. Up north of the border, it's Joey Bats, that guy against the Orioles. 2-run shot, his league-leading 41st. Remember, he hit 54 bombs a year ago. O's took a 4-3 lead in the ninth. Kevin Gregg couldn't keep it. Now tied at 4. Now it's 5-4 Blue Jays after pinch hitter J.P. Arancibia wins it. They're back at 500. Remember, to see every baseball game the most in HD, it's 1-800-DIRECTV. Guys?
Thank you, Chris. 41st for Bautista. It's amazing what a good leg lift will teach you to do, huh?
Yeah,
he didn't have that big leg lift 2 years ago, but he started.
Pretty amazing that a guy could turn around a journeyman career and become the best power hitter in baseball.
Andrus to his right, he's got it. So that's 2 outs here in the third. Well, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the race for the postseason heads into the stretch run as we'll see the Rays battle the AL wildcard leading Red Sox, or the Mets will take on the National League wildcard leading Atlanta Braves. Next week's telecast on Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Chevrolet, begins at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's 1 o'clock Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Well, the Rays are trying to make some noise, though, huh, Tom?
Yeah, the Rays are in a pretty good opportunity.
Yep.
Their problem is there's so many games behind the Red Sox, but the Red Sox have injuries now. Their rotation is kind of decimated. Euclid is out of their lineup, so they're a little bit vulnerable right now. But they have that big lead. They've got a 5.5 game lead with not much time left. The Rays are lucky they've got some games against the contenders.
That's right. The Rays
can't lose too many more times.
Won last night. 2 more games in that series. But total, the Rays and the Red Sox will still play 6 games.
Yeah.
So there is your opportunity. They're 5.5 back. That's in the wild card. Red Sox 2.5 behind the Yankees for first place. And then there's that wild card race between Boston and the Rays. So 6 left. Line down the left field line, and that's fair. Matsui digging for 2. Hamilton picks it up, and Hideki Matsui will have a 2-out double.
Well, he doesn't try to pull the ball. He gets a fastball away from him, and he just serves it down the left field line. Line drive, nice base hit, actually a double.
He can still hit.
Yeah, he can. Got off to a terrible start this year, but he's been swinging the bat like the A's hoped he would over the last couple of months.
So here's Willingham. Had a base hit leading off the second. One thing Bob Melvin has done, Tom, with Matsui and Willingham is he's had one DH one night, play left field, the next night back and forth. So, and what it's done is it's kept Willingham in the lineup. He's got a sore Achilles tendon, and Matsui has actually enjoyed playing left field, and he really does a pretty decent job out there.
Well, he's a veteran. He was a terrific player for a long time, and you know, even though he's approaching the end of his career, he's still a guy that prides himself in being an everyday player. Bangs that right off the top of his left leg. You could see the protector that he's got on his ankle. Let's see if it hits it. Yeah, it hit right on the side of it, but that probably got as much of his ankle as it did the guard that he's got on his ankle. Obviously not the first time he's done that. He's got a little smile on his face, but that doesn't feel too good.
Yeah, he's dealt with a sore Achilles tendon for quite a while this season. So, but being able to DH and have Matsui play left field, and then the next night, vice versa, it has helped both players and kept them maybe a little bit more fresh than they would be otherwise. Numbers wise, I think it's very much helped Matsui because he's played much better in the second half when he has played occasionally in the outfield. 1-1 to Willingham.
Okay.
See that occasionally, though, where guys, even though they're later in their careers, they still like to play in the field, and it helps them at the plate.
I think you just feel more part of the game when you're out in the field. You're used to doing it your whole career, and all of a sudden it's like pinch hitting 4 straight times. Some guys adapt to it quickly, some guys never do. Some guys just, and I think the way you've described Matsui, he's probably one of those guys where it's worked out for him doing it, alternating between the outfield, but if he had to do it all the time, it would just take too much away.
So 2-2 the count to Willingham.
Michael Young's kind of in that situation for the Rangers. He's DH'd a lot, but he's also gotten a chance to play third. He's played first. He's played second. Played third almost all the time while Beltre was away. So he hasn't been exclusively a designated hitter. When he has been, he's done great. But he's also had plenty of chances to play in the field, which he's appreciated.
So full count. 45 pitches for Ogando.
I think it's a lot easier for a guy who becomes a DH when he knows he can't play in the field anymore. He might have a physical limitation, and then you do what you have to do. But when you still feel you can play in the field, then I think it's even more difficult. You're sitting on the bench as a DH thinking it's hard to hit this way. I never could pinch hit. Now I feel like a pinch hitter. I feel like I should be playing out in the field. So mentally, you're not quite prepared to do it. And I'm not saying that's the case for Matsui, but I think that's the case for some guys. Whereas if you've had a shoulder operation or there's something physically limiting you to where you're still a successful hitter, but you can't play in the field, I think it's a little bit easier to adapt to that because you don't have any choice.
Another 3-2 pitch from Ogando to Josh Willingham. And he got him. There's that hard slider, and it's a good one. So a couple of strikeouts inning for Ogando. Bottom of the third coming up. Back to Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Chevrolet. A's with a 3-0 lead over the Texas Rangers. It's the bottom of the third. And the first pitch to Mitch Moreland is a strike. Moreland, Indy Chavez, and Ian Kinsler for the Rangers here in the bottom of the third. Mitch Moreland, young man, everyday first baseman for the Rangers. Ron Washington was talking about him today in his meeting with the writers. He said, hey, he's a good young hitter, but he's also very young and he's going through his ups and downs. But when it's all said and done, it certainly looks like this young man's going to be a good hitter.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases where young hitters step right in and become forces in the middle of a lineup and never look back. It's probably much more frequent that a guy steps in like Mitch with great promise. You see a player who could become an outstanding hitter, and he's shown at times that he can this year, and then at times he's struggled a little bit. But I think that's to be expected in your first full season.
And it certainly looks like he's holding his own.
Yeah, exactly.
266 average, 16 home runs.
He's holding his own. He's had some big hits for the Rangers.
Cahill takes care of that. And let's check in with Chris Rose and a DirecTV game.
Guys, wild one between the Cubs and the Mets in New York. In the 8th, Kerry Wood delivers. So does Jason Bay, a 2-run single to give the Mets the lead. They turn it over to the guy they hope will close games in 2012, Bobby Parnell. However, Aramis Ramirez with a base hit, 2 scored. Cubs win at 5-4. Remember to see every baseball game the most in HD. It's 1-800-DirecTV. Guys, the Cubs, of course, have a GM vacancy after they fired Jim Hendry earlier this year, and Billy Beane of the Oakland A's has been rumored to perhaps get an interview down the line. Your thoughts?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is a number of years ago when the Red Sox GM job was available. Billy Beane's name was mentioned frequently. In fact, I believe if I remember correctly, he took that job and then changed his mind quite close to making it up and stayed in Oakland. So I'm not sure if that's something he'd be interested in or not. Certainly a great candidate, but would he want to leave the Bay Area?
He's got a very good situation with the Athletics. He's got a small stake in the ownership.
Well, we know he won't leave before the end of this month when Moneyball comes out, of course. that would ruin the promotion.
That's right. If Brad Pitt is playing you in a movie, you sit tight for a little while.
Yep.
That's pretty cool, really.
Weeks has it. So Indy Chavez is retired. 2 outs. Well, tomorrow the regular season begins with a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, it's a great slate of early games. Falcons, Bears, Eagles, Rams, Lions, Bucks. Then on America's Game of the Week, the Giants take on the Redskins in D.C. or other late regional action. Coverage begins tomorrow with the Built for Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check local listings for the games in your area.
You know, when you think about Brad Pitt playing you in a movie, there aren't a whole lot of people that could get away with being played by Brad Pitt. I think Billy Beane is probably one of them. In fact, my wife said the other day, he's way better looking than Brad Pitt. So,
you know what? That's a pretty solid compliment. Chris, your thoughts on Tom Greaves' wife saying, I think Billy Beane's better looking than Brad Pitt?
Well, I hope that Mrs. Grieve isn't around Billy Beane anytime soon. That's my thoughts. I'm thinking about the other side of the ledger, though. Paul DePodesta being played by Jonah Hill. Now,
without his name being used as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one, kind of scratching my head a little bit, guys.
Well, you know what? I would think, Tom and Chris, if you're a GM or you want to be a GM, as difficult as it is in Chicago because the Cubs have, they've done a lot of losing over the years, but that is still an attractive job because there's a revenue stream, there's a ballpark, there's a following. It's a wonderful sports city, but the media can also be very difficult in Chicago. Tough place to manage.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for whoever gets that opportunity. It would be an entirely different job for Billy Beane.
Andrus with a base hit. That's going to allow Kinsler to go to third. Andrus is going to head into second. So a 2-out rally by the Texas Rangers. They have second and third.
Well, when the Rangers' offense is clicking, it clicks because Kinsler and Andrus at the top of the order are making things happen. Rangers are attempting to get a 2-out rally going right here. Andrus strokes a double to left, and now Josh Hamilton has a chance to make something happen. You know, it's not a secret that Billy Beane in Oakland has not had the highest budget to work with, and he's made the best out of what he's had. So if, in fact, that was a job that he was interested in, it would be an entirely different type of job, much more resources to work with. But, you know, we're talking like that's something that's going to happen. We don't have the slightest idea. That's a name that's come up. That could be the farthest thing from Billy's mind right now, and I'm sure it probably is.
Well,
it won't stop us from talking about it, though.
That's the point, is you throw Billy Beane's name out there for a GM opening, and it is going to get talked about a lot.
It's going to provoke some discussion.
Exactly right. 0-2 to Josh Hamilton, who had a fly ball to center field in the first inning. So a Kinsler single and Andrus double with 2 outs to put the runners at second and third. Well, this is one of those talking points, Tom. What do you think? The day-night situation with Josh Hamilton.
The day numbers have actually gotten better. It doesn't look good at 192, but they're better. And Josh, a couple of weeks ago, found some eye drops that he thinks have really helped, not just in the daytime.
To the backstop, and the Rangers are going to get a run. Kinsler trots home, and it's 3-1.
I think any time that Trevor Cahill's pitching with a man on third base in a close game, it's an opportunity for the other team on a wild pitch. That's his 14th wild pitch. He's second in the league in wild pitches. And, you know, that pitch is, you know, for a guy that depends on command and a sinker and being around the plate, that ball is way out of the strike zone to the point where even an excellent catcher like Suzuki doesn't have a chance to block it.
1-2 to Hamilton, checks his swing, and he went around. So Cahill gets the strikeout, but a wild pitch gets a run home. We're through 3 in Arlington. It's the A's 3 and the Rangers 1. Top of the fourth inning from Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. The A's with a 3-1 lead over the Rangers.
I think when you look at Alexi Ogando, you see a guy with a well above average fastball, the makings of a well above average slider, but the one pitch he's trying to develop is a changeup to give him a third pitch. And right now that's kind of a work in progress for him.
Well, he was very good out of that bullpen last year.
And I think you can probably get away with 2 pitches, sometimes 1 pitch, coming out of the bullpen where you only pitch for an inning, and he was a late inning guy, very seldom pitched more than 1 inning, would face 3 or 4 hitters at a time. But as a starter, it's a little different. You need to go through the lineup 2, 3, and 4 times. And to be able to do that, you have to give the hitters a little bit more of a look. Now, early in the season, he had such great command with his fastball and slider, he was able to do that. Recently, the command's not quite the same with either pitch, and it really points to the fact that he needs to develop a changeup or something else to go along with those other 2 pitches.
Toward the shortstop, Andrus.
He's got the one thing you can't teach, though, is a 96 to 98 mile an hour fastball. That's a great place to start from. And the makings of an excellent slider, and the fact that halfway through the season he was an all-star.
Well, in his 12 wins this year, look at his ERA, 1.60. He's lost 7 games, and he's had 7 no decisions. And in those games, he's got knocked around.
Now, he's struggled, as we've said, recently. In August, his ERA was 7.14. At the end of July, after 20 starts, it was 2.88. So the month of July was not kind to Ogando.
Well, Tom, you don't think any of his struggles are due to just the basic workload?
I think it's hard to say, but it has to have something to do with it. He's never been a starter. He was a reliever last year, and I'm not even sure what he threw, 50 or 60 innings, and right now he's up over 100, right around 160 innings. So it has to be an issue, and it's something the Rangers are concerned about. At the All-Star break, he skipped a start and had 13 days off with 1 relief appearance. Recently, he skipped a start, and now he's pitching today on 11 days rest with 1 relief appearance. So they're cautious about that. They're concerned about it. They're trying to counteract it with some extra rest. And when you look at the velocity, you would say, boy, there's nothing wrong with Ogando. He's not tired. He's throwing hard. But maybe the workload has affected his command a little bit. I don't know how you know that for sure, but I think that's a possibility.
Well, I would think, too, being a starter, you have to kind of groom your concentration level to last for 6, 7, 8 innings, as opposed to being a reliever. You concentrate for 3 hitters, go all out. I would think that's a big change for a pitcher.
I agree. It's a mental grind. There's no doubt about it. Baseball season is 6 months, 162 games as starting pitcher. You're going to go out there 33 or 34 times, and you put a good start behind you and go out and do it again. Go out and do it again. And I think the mental grind and your ability to combat that mental grind is probably what determines what kind of a pitcher you ultimately become. A lot of guys with great stuff never became good starting pitchers. And a lot of guys with marginal stuff were great starting pitchers for 15 or 16 years. And the mental aspect of it is a huge part of it. So I would agree with that.
Well, he's still just 27 years old, and it is an arm that does not necessarily have a lot of throws, has not been used a lot. That one's hit deep to right center. Andy Chavez is at the warning track, and he's got it. So that's the second out. Brandon Allen retired. Visit Lowe's to pick up your instant win game card for a chance to win World Series tickets. Compliments of Scott's. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a fresh arm at 27 because, well, he started his professional career as an outfielder in the A's organization, if you can believe that.
Yeah, he's not a guy that you have to worry about being abused as a young pitcher because he wasn't even a pitcher.
He was in the A's organization from 2002 to 2005 as an outfielder.
That was a case of excellent scouting by the Rangers, who saw him throw as an outfielder, drafted him in the minor league portion of the Rule 5 draft, turned him into a pitcher. He immediately was throwing hard, but then he couldn't get a visa. He was involved in a human trafficking situation, couldn't get a visa to the United States for 4 or 5 years. Ultimately, had a relationship with an agent who figured out a way to promote him and get him the visa. He got to the States last year in spring training for the first time. Never pitched professionally in the States. Threw well in spring training, went to AAA, went to the minor leagues, AA and AAA, I believe. Then got to the big leagues early in the season, was an excellent setup reliever. Went to spring training this year, got a chance to be stretched out as a starter, became a starting pitcher, and made the All-Star team. So it really is, when you look at it from A-ball, A's outfielder, pretty incredible story.
Suzuki with a base hit. Yeah, that's not, hey, I'm a first-round draft pick story.
No, it is not. But if you saw this kid pitch in college with that kind of an arm, he might have been a #1 draft choice. There's a case where Ogando's trying to throw the fastball down and away. You can see Torrealba's glove. The ball drifts back toward the middle of the plate, and Suzuki takes advantage of the mislocation with a base hit to left field. And I think that, more than anything, signifies the problems Ogando's had over his last 7 or 8 starts. Just the inability to throw the fastball within the strike zone where he wants to. Get some words of encouragement from Mike Maddox, Rangers pitching coach.
So 2 on, 2 out for Eric Sogard, the 9th place hitter. .62 pitches with 2 outs in the 4th inning for Alexi Ogando. He's thrown as many as 116 this year. Sogard hit a line drive to right field. Murphy made a nice running catch out. So the Rangers will finish this game, and then they'll wait and see what the Angels do tonight. Angels hosting the Yankees for game 2 of that 3-game series.
A couple of weeks ago, the Rangers had a 4-game series in Anaheim. The Rangers won the first 3 games to develop a 7-game lead. Had a 1-0 lead in the 9th inning of the 4th game, and saw that lead disappear and lose the game on a home run by Mark Trumbo, 2-1, to go from a 7-game lead to a 6-game lead.
So 1 swing of the bat, and it was a 2-game swing in the standings.
2-game swing, and since that time, including last night, the Angels have had a 1-0 deficit late in the game 2 more times and overcome it. The other day against Seattle, last night against the Yankees. So they're getting some clutch hitting, much better offense to go with what's been a very solid starting rotation all season long.
Slowly hit toward first. Moreland has it. Flips to Ogando. Side retired. A couple of runners left for the A's. We are headed to the bottom of the 4th. It's 3-1 Athletics. Fourth inning from Arlington. Pretty nice day for a ball game. Texas. Cahill throws a strike to Michael Young, Beltre, and Murphy here in the bottom of the fourth. Michael Young with strikeout his first at bat, but a big night last night. He had 4 RBIs, scored 3 runs. There's your weather, 91 degrees. Those are welcome numbers, huh, Tom, for anybody who lives in this area.
It really is amazing the difference that it feels like when it's 90 degrees and sunny or 105 degrees and sunny. You think once it gets up to 90, there's not much difference. But standing around the batting cage today with the temperature at 90 and talking to the players, you know, they're talking about what a beautiful day it is, how comfortable it feels. Yet last week in that same cage with the same players, when it was 105, it's almost unbearable to stand there. So yeah, it is. It's kind of a welcome relief, and much cooler at nights now too. Hottest summer in the history of Texas.
Wow. Michael Young drives one right center. Sweeney makes the catch. Terrific play by Ryan Sweeney in center field.
Well, most outfielders shade Michael Young a little bit toward right field. And even though this ball is sliced into the gap, Sweeney was played that way, got a pretty good jump, and shows nice athleticism with the ability to dive and kind of backhand that ball, and more importantly, hang on to it after he hit the ground.
So 1 out for Adrian Beltre. He had a base hit his first at bat. So the only run that Trevor Cahill has allowed in this game was in the third, and it came on a wild pitch. There's runners at second and third, 2 outs with Hamilton up. The wild pitch brought Kinsler home. The tapper, it's going to be a fair ball, and it's going to be an infield hit for Beltre.
That's the one.
So Beltre with a couple of hits. Just moments ago, we talked to A's manager Bob Melvin and asked him about the performance so far from Trevor Cahill.
Well, he looks good. Aggressive, throwing all his pitches. Looks like you know, he's trying to get ahead of hitters, command the strike zone, and mix it up.
You know, against Alexi Ogando, Bob, a hard-throwing young right-hander, any special game plan when you face a guy like him?
Well, he's basically 2-pitch, but you know, you make you start your bat a little bit early with plus fastball. So, you know, you gotta be aware of the slider and make him throw strikes and try to get into predictable counts.
All right, Bob, thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the ball game.
All right, thank you.
So we appreciate Bob Melvin spending some time. Took over the A's managerial job in early June. And we'll see if he remains the A's manager into the future. There's been no announcement on that. Going back is Willingham. He's near the wall, and he leaps up and he makes the catch. Beltre had to regroup. He had gone past second base. He did touch second base heading back to first, which you have to do. But a very nice play by Willingham in left field.
And Murphy has been very hot. Puts a charge in this the opposite way. And Willingham makes a circus catch. You can see the sun shining in his sunglasses. Goes up, jumps up against the wall, and makes a beautiful play. 2 nice plays to get 2 outs here in the 4th inning for Cahill. Sweeney in right center field with a dive. Willingham in left field with a jump. They would have had Beltre doubled off first base pretty easily if Willingham's throw was accurate to Pennington. Beltre had gone all the way around second base, but when the ball dribbled by Pennington, he was able to get back to first base. A good test for Beltre, having to beat out an infield hit and hustle back to first on that fly ball.
So with 2 outs, Yorvi Torrealba hits. He grounded out in the second inning. Last night, Mike Napoli was the catcher. Napoli with a 2-run homer. So 2 pretty good catchers for the Rangers, Napoli and Torrealba. And there was teams looking for catchers during the season, and Torrealba's name seemed to come up quite a bit, but the Rangers held on to him. And he has a contract for next year.
Yeah, he's got another year in his contract. And Rangers really have had a great catching situation this year. Torrealba has done an excellent job behind the plate. He's hit the ball well too. Mike Napoli has never played better than he's playing right now. And then in September, the Rangers added Matt Trainer, a veteran guy. There's Matt and Mike. Matt caught for the Rangers a significant portion of the time last year in their drive toward the World Series. So you couldn't ask for a better catching situation with 3 veteran guys than the Rangers have right now.
Well, I would say a significant upgrade from 2010. Would you agree, Tom?
Yeah.
Benji Molina did an okay job when he came over.
Benji was fine. Benji played fine. Matt Trainer played fine. But I think the guys that we've had this year, because of the difference in the power that Napoli has supplied, have probably been stronger. I don't think Napoli's ever played better than he's playing right now. He's a 300 hitter, catching well behind the plate. And per at bat, there aren't many guys in the league with better numbers. 319 at bats. He's hit 25 home runs. Torrealba's had almost 30 doubles.
So you got 5 home runs from Torrealba. So you got 29 home runs from your 2 catchers.
Yeah, and not all of Napoli's were as a catcher. But the point is that they both hit well, they both caught well, and they both have great know-how behind the plate.
So 2 on, 2 out after the Torrealba walk, and here's Mitch Moreland.
Rangers making Cahill work for his outs this inning, making the fielders work for him too. A couple of great plays by the outfielders that kept this a scoreless inning. Cahill's pitched against the Rangers 4 times this year, spread out throughout the course of the season, gone at least 7 innings in every start, and has a 1.86 ERA in those 4 starts. So he has been very tough on the Rangers.
There's a shot headed for the right field corner, and that's going to get down. It's going to go off the wall. Beltre scores. They're waving Torrealba home, and he's going to score. The throw goes into third. It's kicked around, and scrambling back is Moreland. And just like that, this ball game is tied at 3. So Mitch Moreland with a big 2-out hit.
We've been talking about Mitch Moreland a little bit, a young player developing at the big league level, and the fact that he's had some big hits for the Rangers. And here's another one. Cahill hung a slider. Moreland took advantage of it. And the Rangers are able to tie the game with 1 swing of the bat. We also talked about Cahill struggling with walks this year and wild pitches. He's 4th in the league in walks. The 2-out walk to Torrealba set up that double. And a wild pitch scored a run for the Rangers in the last inning.
That's a good call. And that's nothing against Yorvi Torrealba, but with 2 outs and a runner on first and a 3-1 lead, you got to go after him. You can't walk him.
Exactly.
And Chavez takes a strike. So it's 0-2. So Mitch Moreland gets RBIs 50 and 51 on the year. Towards Sweeney. He's got it. Side retired. The big hit, Mitch Moreland with a 2-run double. And that has tied the game as we head to the 5th. Top of the order for the A's, and we are all tied at 3. A's led 3-0, but Texas Rangers with 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th to tie up the ball game. Weeks, Pennington, and Matsui against Alexi Ogando. Weeks with a base hit in the 1st, to strike out in the 3rd.
Well, the strikeout in the 3rd was on the slider that he has success with, and that's when he keeps it down and throws it in. There's an attempt to work on his changeup a little bit right there, which I'm sure Torrealba is going to try to make him do throughout the course of a game. A little tougher to do when you're in a game like this that's tied. You don't really have the luxury of working on something.
Into the glove of Elvis Andrus. Weeks is retired, and that is out number 1. Moments ago, we talked to Rangers manager Ron Washington and asked him about his terrific Rangers offense.
Well, you know, it's gratifying in a way. You know, you don't like to fall behind, but, you know, we play 9 innings, and those guys go up there and grind out at bats and grind out at bats, and anyone can get you from 1 to 9, and it just showed right there. Number 8 got you, Mitch Moreland.
Wash, what were you looking for before the game from Alexi Ogando, and what have you seen from him through the 4 innings so far?
Well, I was mainly looking for him to keep us in the ball game. He has. You know, it could have just been a 2-0 game. We just didn't make one play behind him, and you know, he tried to get a breaking ball on the back foot of Sweeney, and he didn't get it there. He hit it down the line for a triple. But other than that, you know, I was just looking for him to keep us in the ball game, and right now he's still in the ball game in the 5th inning, and anything can happen from here on out.
All right, Wash, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
So indeed, Ogando, after giving up that 3 spot in the 2nd inning, he has settled down, kept his team in the game, and with the Rangers, I mean, they may be the ultimate keep your team in the game team, because you know they're going to come back and score a bunch of runs.
Yeah, that's something that it is a luxury for the Ranger pitchers to know that they do have a little margin for error, because the offense has a lot of guys in the lineup who can, with one swing of the bat, get you right back in a ball game.
So 2 outs, couple of ground balls by Weeks and Pennington, and here's Hideki Matsui.
You know, you kind of contrast that to, let's say, Felix Hernandez in Seattle, who earlier in the year, Seattle's scoring a little bit better now, but you know, he must have felt that if he doesn't shut him out 1-0, he's not going to win a game. Every time he gives up a run, that might be the run that loses the game. And I think that puts a lot more pressure on a pitcher, pitch after pitch, inning after inning. And while the Ranger pitchers still go out there and try to get every out, make every pitch, they do know that if they do give up 3 runs early in the game, it doesn't mean the game's over.
The 0-1 to Hideki Matsui. 0-2, good fastball there at 98 miles an hour, and it was right on the outside corner. 5th season that Ron Washington has been the manager of the Texas Rangers, and they've got better every year.
I don't think as a manager you could ask for a better graphic than that.
As long as it keeps heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Eventually
it's going to get tough to top it, but nice to see that for Ron Washington. Go up 5 straight years, go to the World Series last year. Done a great job with the Ranger Ball Club.
So is that gentleman,
yep.
Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan, the president.
Swing and a miss, or make that a foul ball. Just shoots right back to the backstop. Well, the Rangers are trying to make it to the postseason in back-to-back years. For the 2nd time, they did it in 1998 and 1999. In fact, they had a nice little run in the late 90s. They also went to the postseason in 1996. So 3 out of 4 years they made it. But they had to deal with the Yankees every year.
I was just going to say that, Glenn. The problem the Rangers ran into was the Yankees. They won the first playoff game and then lost 9 straight.
Beltre into foul territory. He's got it. Side retired, and Alexi Ogando has a 3-up and a 3-down inning. Top of the order, Ian Kinsler with his 28 home runs will lead things off when we come back. country. 3-3 game, bottom of the 5th inning, Rangers ballpark in Arlington. Not a sellout today, but a very nice crowd. And they are watching their Rangers trying to hold on to first place in the AL West. They won the West last year by 9 games over the A's. They won 90 games. So they got a real good chance of surpassing that win total. Joe to 1 to Kinsler.
Kinsler has an excellent eye at the plate. Very seldom will he chase pitches out of the strike zone. Those sliders, last 2 sliders are very tempting, and you can look at probably 4 or 5 times in this game where a Ranger right-hand hitter has swung at one of those sliders, but Ian has such great discipline at the plate. He's been able to lay off it. Takes a tough sinker right there. But on the season, he's walked 78 times and only struck out 65 times.
Well, for a guy who hits that many home runs, that's very impressive.
Yeah, it is. He's not a wild swinger. His average is not where he'd like it to be, but the walks give him a solid on-base percentage. And there's a high pitch, that borderline pitch. He takes it.
Time now for a DirecTV game break with Chris Rose.
All right, guys, let's check in on another division leader, the Tigers. Joe Mauer, tough year for him, but this time he goes the right way, which is left center. His 3rd homer of the year ties it at 1. Anthony Swarzak started for the Twins today. Happy 26th birthday. Victor Martinez just got you a 2-1 deficit with a bow on it. Bottom of the 5th. Guys, the Tigers are going to be a tough out if they hang on to that lead in the AL Central.
Well, it all comes back to that one name, Justin Verlander.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to face him in a 5-game series.
Well, it's the big dilemma with the AL East teams. And, you don't know who's going to win there either, who's going to get the wild card. But do you want to face Justin Verlander and the Tigers in a 5-game series?
No, we've talked about the pennant race in the West between the Angels and the Rangers, but the race within the race.
Exactly.
Whether or not the winner of the West has a better record than the Tigers, and which one of those teams plays the wild card and which one team plays the winner of the East. Looks right now like the Yankees have a head start on winning the East. The Red Sox are hurting a little bit right now, losing ground to the Yankees.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the races around baseball, there really isn't any except in this AL West. We talked about that in the open of our show, but like you said, there's some races within. This should be a double play, and it is. So Andrus grounds into the double play. But as we like to do, let's say the season ends right now. Who would play who? Well, the Yankees would play the Rangers, and the Red Sox would get the Tigers in that division series. Diamondbacks and Phillies, and the Braves and the Brewers. Now
the Red Sox would have to go to Detroit as the wild card team, and the Rangers as the winner of the West, but with a lesser record than the Tigers, would have to go to New York and start that 5-game series at New York.
So there's the breakdown between these Rangers and the Tigers. Interesting note, Tom. The last time 1 or fewer races were within 5 games on September 10th was 1986.
Wow.
And if you just look, I mean, the National League is pretty well set. Cahill makes a nice play. Underhands, Hamilton's retired. And that will do it for the Rangers. We're headed to the top of the 6th, knotted at 3. trucks and crossovers, and by Michelin, a better way forward. 3-3 game, top of the 6th inning. The A's and the Rangers. Josh Willingham to lead it off. So Willingham, DeJesus, and Sweeney. Single and a strikeout for Josh Willingham. Also made a nice play in left field. Tom, you think back to that bottom of the 4th inning when Texas scored a couple of runs. There was a couple of nice plays made in the outfield, and Cahill's lucky that he got those plays because it could have been a lot worse for him.
Yeah, the inning started out like he was going to be able to pitch out of it with nothing because of those 2 nice plays, but Rangers put a little 2-out rally, got a walk, and then the big hit by Moreland. But he definitely got some excellent help from his outfielders.
Recently acquired Michael Gonzalez. Rangers bullpen. Rangers really fortified their bullpen. And that hits Willingham.
Yep.
So the A's get a base runner. So Fox Sports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. Stand up for someone you love. Visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports to learn more. Well, Glenn Kuiper and Tom Grieve talking about the AL West, Tom, and the Rangers and the Angels have 3 more games left against each other in Anaheim, and it's the last 3 of the season. You got to believe that there's a pretty good chance it's going to come down to those last 3.
The way it looks right now, it really looks that way, and you have to congratulate the schedule maker, I guess, for the way that they planned that. But I think in September it sets up for interdivisional play that way most of the time, and this time the Angels have the advantage of playing in their home ballpark, but watching both teams play the way they're playing right now, I don't see how either one of the teams is going to run away from the other to the point where those games won't be meaningful.
And you know what? Since it really is the only race going on, like we've been talking about, it's going to get a lot of attention, and you're already seeing the Angels kind of trying to line up their pitching schedule so they can get, the Dan Herron, make sure he pitches in that series. Jared Weaver, make sure he pitches in that series. And that's what you have to do this time of year.
Yeah, and already in the series where the Angels came to Texas last week, they altered their rotation so that Santana and Weaver both pitched in this ballpark against the Rangers on 3 days rest. Yep. So when it comes down to the end of the season, I think I read the other day where the Angels already have it set where if the games are meaningful, Weaver would probably pitch the last day of the season on 3 days rest. So most of the managers have it mapped that far out into the future.
So Ron Washington is taking the walk to the mound, and he's going to the left-hander in the bullpen. So 5+ innings for Alexi Ogando. We'll be back. the 6th inning, and they'll face the left-hander Michael Gonzalez, recently acquired from the Baltimore Orioles. Those are the season numbers. But what Gonzalez has done, well, since coming to Texas, and even before that, he has been pitching extremely well as of late. And it's possible the Rangers may have got him at just the right time, because he's a pretty good reliever.
Yeah, and he's pitched a couple of times for the Rangers, but not in this type of a situation. This is the type of situation that the Rangers got him. To have another left-hander to go with Darren Oliver, to come into a game just like this with a game on the line, men on base to face left-hand hitters.
Bunted. Gonzalez is going to go to third, and he gets the out there.
Wow. What a play by Gonzalez. He was completely under control. He looked at the runner before he fielded that ball, knew exactly what he wanted to do, and made the play. It didn't look like a terrible bunt, really. But Gonzalez makes the accurate throw and didn't have much room to spare. Just gets Willingham at third base by about a foot. That's a really nice play to get the lead runner by Gonzalez on a bunt by Sweeney. That wasn't that bad a bunt.
So Gonzalez now faces another left-handed hitter, and it's Brandon Allen. Allen is 0 for 2.
A little bit too much toward the pitcher, obviously, otherwise you have no chance to get the runner at third. The perfect bunt is a bunt hard right to the third baseman, so he has to come in and field it, and then there's absolutely no play at third base. So if you give the pitcher a chance to field the ball, it's not a perfect bunt, but it took a nice play by Gonzalez to make that play.
And you better not hesitate either way.
No. Or
if you hesitate
throw
to third, he's going to be safe. And if you hesitate to first, he's going to be safe.
Right. And if you rush, if you rush your throw and throw it away, guys are running all day long.
So DeJesus at second, Sweeney at first. This one's popped up. Beltre near the seats, and he's got just enough room, and he makes the catch. So Brandon Allen fouls out, and Gonzalez is one hitter away from working his way out of a difficult jam.
Well, take a look at the last pitch to Brandon Allen. He gets a fastball out over the plate, has a pretty good swing at it. He just gets underneath it, pops it up in foul territory. Rangers get a big out. Going back to that play that Gonzalez made, I think the key for him was he had time as he went after the bunt to look at the runner. He didn't get the ball and then try to figure out what he was going to do. He looked at the runner, made up his mind what he was going to do, so that when he got to the ball, there was no hesitation. He just threw right straight to third base.
Kurt Suzuki steps in. Now there's a left-handed hitter, Eric Sogard, in the on-deck circle. That could have been part of the discussion with Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. But with your rosters expanded, Bob Melvin certainly has plenty of right-handed hitters he could come in to hit for Sogard. Gonzalez signed the 2-year contract to be the closer for the Baltimore Orioles. And he struggled early, and then he had arm problems. And he never really got on track with Baltimore. So 2-0 to Kurt Suzuki. Just a .213 average with runners in scoring position. That's the main reason why he has just 40 RBIs on the year. He had 71 last year. He had 88 the year before. So the numbers are going in the wrong direction for Kurt Suzuki. Decent speed on the bases for the Athletics with DeJesus and Sweeney. 3-1 pitch is outside and the bases are loaded. Sogard is going to be called back. So you had a feeling that that would probably happen if the bases got loaded. So Scott Sizemore will hit. Sizemore is the regular third baseman for the A's.
Well, Sizemore's pinch hit a couple of times this year. He's 2 for 2.
And he will not face a left-hander. It's going to be Tadayama coming in, so it'll be right-hander versus right-hander. MLB postseason on Fox and TBS. It all begins Friday, September 30th with the Division Series on TBS. Well, Ron Washington brings in the right-hander, Tadayama. Check it out. Watch Wash's right hand.
Look at Beltran. Look at Beltran laughing.
That's Wash's way of saying,
yep,
get this guy
Let's
out.
go, kid. Get it done.
So Yoshinori Tadayama comes in. He's going to face Scott Sizemore. And the numbers tell you that Tadayama is very tough on right-handed hitters. They're hitting just 176 against him. So this may have been the matchup that Ron Washington wanted, to get Tadayama in the game against a right-handed hitter. Sizemore has been a good clutch hitter for the A's. He drills that one left field. That's hit well, and that is a grand slam, and the A's lead 7-3. The second pitch that Tadayama throws to Sizemore is hit into the left field seats.
I mentioned that Sizemore had pinch hit twice and had 2 hits, so that's a role that I guess he looks forward to. And Tadayama's mistake, I guess, was when he threw the breaking ball on the first pitch, he threw it for a ball. With the bases loaded, I'm sure Sizemore said to himself, okay, he's behind in the count. He has to throw me a fastball right here. and he looked for the fastball, and he hit it. He got behind with a breaking ball, came in with a fastball, threw it for a strike, and Sizemore was ready for it.
So here's Weeks. So a 2-out grand slam by Sizemore. So through all the managerial moves, it ends up being Bob Melvin's right move by getting Sizemore in there.
He's trying to throw that ball on the outside part of the plate. It comes back with movement right near the center of the plate. And he had a great swing at it.
And Weeks gets his second hit, so he continues his hot hitting. So Weeks is 2 for 4.
Shortstop Cliff Pennington.
So Pennington steps in. The home run for Sizemore was his 10th of the year. He now has 49, make it 50 RBIs. So there may have been a little cheer coming from the Angels clubhouse in Anaheim after the Sizemore grand slam.
You have to give Sizemore a lot of credit for a young player. Pinch hitting is not an easy job. It looked like he had a good plan right there. He was able to take the breaking ball, and then when he got the fastball to hit, he did a good job with it. And Tadayama, for a lot of this season, has come in and made excellent pitches, thrown the breaking ball away and fooled right-hand hitters, spotted his fastball on the outside corner, but that one, the movement on his fastball that time brought it right into the strike zone, right into the wheelhouse for Sizemore.
Weeks was caught stealing in the first inning. Pennington swings and misses. So the count 1-2. The inning started with a hit by pitch.
And the last time Tadayama pitched was about a week ago in Boston. He pitched a third of an inning in that game, walked 2, gave up a couple of hits and 4 runs. So his last 2 outings have not gone well.
Boy, I think you get to the postseason and the bullpen becomes so important. This one's lofted to right center field, and nobody's going to get it. And Weeks digging around second, hits the bag at third, and he's going to come in to score. So Pennington with a 2-out RBI double, and that makes it 8-3. Well, with Weeks' great speed, there was no question whether he was going to score or not. So, kind of a disastrous inning for Tadayama as he's going to come out of the game. runs, 6th inning, a grand slam by Sizemore. So back to the bullpen for the Rangers. Mark Hamburger comes in for his 4th appearance. Brought up on the 30th of August. Made his major league debut on the 31st of August.
And Mark was a kid that came over to the Rangers from the Twins in a trade for Eddie Guardado. Signed by the Twins out of a tryout camp. He was pitching amateur ball in the Minnesota Twins backyard, really. Decided on a lark to go to tryout camp with a buddy. Threw 93 miles an hour. Got signed to a contract. Went to the minor leagues. Got traded. And here he is in the big leagues.
Toward right field, Murphy is there. He's got it. Side retired. 5 runs for the A's. 4 coming on that swing. A grand slam by Scott Sizemore. Bottom of the 6th, coming up 8-3 A's. Well, Trevor Cahill now has a 5-run lead to work with. So the 5 spot by the A's in the top of this inning. Michael Young. And that's going to drop in front of Willingham for a base hit. So leadoff single here in the bottom of the 6th for Michael Young. And that'll bring up Beltre.
Third baseman Adrian Beltre.
So Chris Rose is standing by. He's got a nice story about Michael Young. Chris?
Yeah, Glenn, obviously the 7-time All-Star big hit on and off the field. In fact, he just started the Michael Young Family Foundation. It has its inaugural event tomorrow night after the A's and Rangers wrap up their 3-game set here in Arlington. It's going to be a celebrity bowling tournament, and they're trying to benefit Wipeout Children's Cancer, and the entire Rangers team is expected to be there. Michael joined me in the pregame here on Fox, and so I asked him, who's most likely to bring their own embroidered bowling shirt, and, the cool slick shoes and their own bowling ball. He, of course, said Ian Kinsler. He's the guy that talks most smack in just about any sporting event they have. So obviously another great cause, and it's the Michael Young Family Foundation if you're looking for more information.
Well, thank you, Chris. We appreciate that.
You
It's
know,
always
over the
nice
years,
to see guys do stuff in the community, you know?
Yeah, Michael's been a forefront of that. Over the years, the Rangers have had some really good bowlers. Dave Oliver used to be a coach here. Once beat me in a bowling match, bowling between his legs. I had a good game for me. I bowled like 140. He bowled 170. And then John Burkett, I think he carried like a 190 average in the league. He bowls in the league in the offseason. John was a great bowler. We'll have to go out there and watch Ian, see what kind of a bowler he is.
And all this time, I thought bowling was a winter, snow on the ground, indoor sport. You only did it in the Midwest. Hit to right field and hit well. DeJesus is at the wall, and Beltre has homered. And just like that, it's 8-5.
Ron Washington, before the game, was talking about Beltre and the fact that eventually he wanted to move him back into the cleanup spot in the order. He wanted to see some things from Beltre before he did that. And so far, he's seen some pretty good things today. Beltre's had 3 hits and now a two-run homer.
'21st home run for Beltre. Bob Melvin to the mound. You know, in that conversation with Ron Washington, Tom, I thought he said something very interesting about Beltre, the fact that he's just back, still trying to get his timing down. And he said, listen, he said, when Beltre's going good, and we've all seen it for many years, he is not afraid to take a whack at the first pitch. But now he's starting to take some pitches, so he's slowly getting his timing back. Maybe not quite there yet. He'll be back. Octagon with an epic heavyweight title fight as the #1 ranked contender in the world, Junior Dos Santos, squares off with undefeated world champion Cain Velasquez in the must-see mixed martial arts event you can only catch on Fox. Dos Santos and Velasquez for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World, live Saturday, November 12th, right here on Fox. New pitcher for the Athletics is the lefty Brian Fuentes, 63rd appearance, as he faces Murphy. And Murphy hits the first pitch into right field for a base hit. So here come the Rangers, like they always seem to do.
Well, first pitch lefty to lefty. David Murphy didn't waste any time. He got a fastball inside part of the plate. And he did pretty much what he's been doing the last couple of weeks, and that's hit a rope somewhere.
So still nobody out here in the 6th. Then Yorvi Torrealba steps in. But Tom, we were talking about Beltre and kind of wanted to finish the story, but
sure.
Ron Washington said when he's going well, he swings early in the count, he's aggressive, he's feeling good. But he said since he's come back, he has noticed Beltre taking more pitches, waiting it out a little bit, simply because he feels like Beltre's maybe just not quite comfortable yet, doesn't have his timing down. And Ron said when Beltre starts jumping on pitches early in the count, that's when I know he's going to feel like he's back or close to being back. And it made a lot of sense because that is the kind of hitter Beltre is. But he was taking more pitches because he wanted to get his timing down, and maybe he's starting to get there. He's got 3 hits today.
Yeah, and he didn't waste much time in that last at bat early in the count, going to right field with that home run. So he's showing some pretty good things.
Torrealba walked and scored in the 4th inning. He also grounded out back in the 2nd. This one's popped up foul. So Trevor Cahill with the 5+ innings. Cahill's last start, he also went 5 innings, and he got a win against the Mariners. That was in Oakland. He threw 95 pitches. Toward right field, DeJesus is there, and that's out number 1. So Mitch Moreland steps in. Moreland had a big hit in this game. That was in the 4th inning, a 2-run double. Last night the Rangers had 13 runs, 14 hits. 4 of those hits doubles. In fact, they had 21 at-bats with runners in scoring position last night, and they had 9 hits. They were 9 for 21. This is last night's game.
The Rangers had a lot of opportunities that the A's gave to them because of defensive plays that weren't made, but to the Rangers' credit, they took advantage of them and did what you're talking about. They got the hits when it counted. Most runs the Rangers have gotten in a game against Cahill this year, 5th time they've seen him. Gave up no runs, 1 run, 2 runs, and 3 runs in the 4 outings before this. He was 2-2 in those 4 games.
Swing and a miss by Mitch Moreland. The Rangers have 8 hits in the game. The A's have 9. Murphy runs, ball's hit up the middle. Pennington on the dive, he's got it, gets up, throws to first in time.
Well, the A's had a bad defensive game last night. They're having a very good defensive game today. Excellent play by Pennington to keep it probably from being a 1st and 3rd situation. Takes a base hit away from Moreland. I've already seen 2 excellent plays in the outfield, one by Willingham, one by Sweeney. Pennington stays right with it, hops up, fires a strike to first base, and gets a big out.
So this is Andy Chavez's spot, but it looks like there's going to be a pinch hitter.
Chavez has been switching off in the outfield depending on who's pitching, a lefty or righty, with Craig Gentry, who's going to pinch hit right here. The Rangers also have Mike Napoli on the bench, who could be a factor later in the ball game depending on the score and the situation.
So Gentry, who was in the starting lineup in last night's game, And he had a couple of hits, scored a couple of runs. So he's going to hit for Indy Chavez. So runner in scoring position. That's Murphy at second base. And the pitch to Gentry is a changeup. Swing and a miss. Fuentes. If it's possible to take something off your changeup, that's about what Brian Fuentes does. Comes in about 72, 73 miles an hour.
It looked like Gentry was going up there looking for the first fastball he saw, and probably a pretty good idea by Fuentes to throw the changeup in that situation.
That one past Kurt Suzuki, and Murphy's going to go to third. Goes as a pass ball on Kurt Suzuki.
Tough pass ball right there. Throwing that far off the plate.
1-1 to Gentry. And that's line to left. Willingham on the move, and he makes the catch. They had a little knuckle to it. Beltre with a 2-run homer. Rangers close the gap. It's now 8-5. We'll return to Arlington after word from your local Fox station. Joining us, the game summary so far. 8-5 with the A's lead. Cahill, 5 earned runs in 5 innings. Ogando, 5 runs, 3 earned in 5 innings. The big hit in the game, a grand slam by Scott Sizemore. He was a pinch hitter. That was in the 6th inning. As the Rangers always do, they scored a couple in the bottom of the 6th to close the gap. So it's 8-5, top of the 7th inning. Greg Gentry stays in the game, and he is in center field. Darren Oliver is the new pitcher, the veteran left-hander.
Yeah, Gentry came in and pinch hit and hit a rope himself right straight at the left fielder. He gets that ball up in the air a little bit over Willingham's head. Rangers would have made it pretty interesting last inning.
Willingham has been on base twice. Single and a hit batter, and he grounds this one in the hole. and kicks off the leg of Elvis Andrus, and it rolls all the way toward the tarp. So Willingham's going to be aboard.
Yeah, Elvis Andrus was probably getting ready to make the throw in the hole, the jump throw, kind of like Derek Jeter likes to make. Elvis has made that play a number of times this year, but was going to have a tough time making a throw that far across the infield to get Willingham anyway. Goes as a base hit.
So the 10th hit for the A's, and here's David DeJesus.
Now, Willingham got the 5-run inning started last inning when Ogando hit him with a pitch, tried to throw a changeup, got away from him. That started the 5-run inning.
David DeJesus has scored a couple of runs. Reached on an error in the 2nd inning. Well, the A's will have a significant say in the outcome of this AL West. We still have a game tomorrow against these Texas Rangers, and then the Rangers will be in Oakland in the last full week of the regular season. So 4 more games between the A's and the Rangers, and the A's still play the Angels 6 times. So they're going to be right in the middle of this thing, are the Athletics. So the Rangers against Oakland and Seattle, they have dominated. (20-7), and as we said earlier, the Rangers have beat the A's 9 consecutive times. But the A's have helped Texas by going 8-5 against Anaheim.
Yeah, the Angels are in the middle of a series against the Yankees right now. And then one of the other significant series that the Angels have, they have to go to Toronto and play 4 games against Toronto. Toronto's kind of hot and cold. They're about a .500 team, but on any given day, their offense can jump up and score a lot of runs.
Yeah, that's that Angels road trip. Oakland, Baltimore, and then 4 in Toronto. So they still have an East Coast swing. Jesus just reaches for it to stay alive. But you're right, going to Toronto for 4 games is not easy.
No.
Because they do have good offense. How about the young third baseman, Brett Lawrie?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see much of him except on television, but
we've seen
that guy is one good-looking hitter, boy.
Man,
he goes up there with the intent to just crush that baseball, doesn't he?
He wants to hurt the baseball. Kinsler has it. He spins, gets the out at second.
And they weren't going to have a chance probably to turn a double play anyway on DeJesus, but what a play by Kinsler.
Well, tomorrow start your NFL Sunday with Fox NFL Sunday pregame show as our guys pay special tribute to the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Plus, they'll tell you Philadelphia Eagles have what it takes to live up to the hype. Are they the dream team? All that more on NFL Sunday pregame show tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox. So 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. Ryan Sweeney's had a very good afternoon, playing in place of Coco Crisp out in center field. What time are you a NFL fan?
I wasn't a big NFL fan till about 5 years ago when I started playing fantasy football.
Oh, it got
you.
Now
I'm a fanatic about it. Yep. So as a matter of fact, now I am.
Well, the opening of Sunday is tomorrow, NFL Sunday, of course. So create your own fantasy football team. Go to foxsports.com/fantasy. Chris, what do you got?
Well, I've been doing my research. Tom Grieve, come on. Tell us how many fantasy football teams you have.
Well, I'm going on 3. I cut it off at 3.
How do you do that? I mean, basically you're drafting the whole league at that point, aren't you?
Well, one of them is a regular draft where you draft your players and you play in a league. The other is a salary cap draft where actually it's the same website with 2 different leagues. So
I'm with you.
I can actually sneak through that a little
easier.
I see you.
By the way, who's the bonehead out of the 3 of us that drafted Peyton Manning in the 4th round?
That would not be me.
That'd be me.
Hey, Chris, you know what? If I was in the same league as Tom Grieve, I would want some type of point spread because the guy was a GM for 10 years in the big leagues. He knows the in and outs of transactions.
I didn't even make the playoffs last year.
No, you know what? I would want, give me some points or something like that. This guy was a professional sports GM.
Yeah, but that was baseball. This is football. It's a whole different ball game. It really is pretty amazing, though, when you go around and you talk to people, how many experts there are now on the NFL because of fantasy football.
It's a shot up the middle, and Sweeney has another hit. Yeah, that's all you have to do, Tom, is ride on a team bus, and you're amazed at how many baseball players are NFL experts.
Well, you know, the Rangers had their fantasy draft coming back from Boston. They were on the plane. The plane's getting ready to take off, and they're all there with their computers, and they're all there with their information getting ready for the draft. And all of a sudden, on the PA system, one of the players goes, and now singing the national anthem will be Mark Hamburger. And so at first we figured they were hazing him. And then he sang the national anthem with the quality that would be good enough to sing it at a major league game. And we figured it was just the kickoff to their fantasy draft. And I asked Mark afterwards, were you planning on that? He goes, I didn't have the slightest idea they were going to ask me to do that. They were strictly hoping I'd get up there and make a fool out of myself. They were actually hazing him, but they didn't realize he was in the choir as a kid, or that in his rookie season in Elizabethan, in the rookie league, he actually did sing the national anthem at the ballpark. So they picked on the wrong guy to haze. He got up and gave a great rendition of it.
And that tells you how important the fantasy football draft is. You got to sing the national anthem before.
You got to have the national anthem before it.
Chris, what are you going to do about Peyton Manning?
Well,
who's your backup?
Kevin Cobb of the Cardinals.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I drafted him late. I think, he's going to be in a lot of shootouts this year. I like him under Ken Wisenhunt.
Yeah.
So, I got a backup plan. It's not great. Kinsler likes his team, by the way. I was talking with him and Young and Napoli. We're shooting holes in everybody's team, by the way.
Everybody likes their team before the season
Yeah, isn't that great?
Let's see what they're saying after week 1.
Mm-hmm. I bet you the Bengals feel like they can win the Super Bowl, too.
1-2 to Brandon Allen. Swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch, and Brandon Allen is 0 for 4.
Well, Darren, for a long time, has come in and done this. Throw an excellent curveball to the left-hand hitters, and it's allowed him to stay in the big leagues into his 40s and be a very important part of a lot of late-inning bullpens on a lot of good teams. Doesn't get flustered out there. Very calm. And again, hijinks and hilarity by the Ranger captain.
So Kurt Suzuki steps in. Well, Darren Oliver has had 3 different stints with the Texas Rangers. He started his career with the Rangers.
Yep, Darren was, I believe, drafted in the 3rd round. Came up through the minor league system as a starting pitcher. Got to the big leagues, actually relieved for a while, and then went into the rotation.
Well, it says he was the 3rd round pick in the 1988 June draft by the Texas Rangers. So you were in charge of the Rangers at that point. You remember?
Yep.
Your guys taking him?
I remember. He's the son of Bob Oliver, who was a power hitter, big league power hitter for a number of years, and signed by the Ranger scout. that had seen him pitch in high school, I believe in Northern California. That was John Young. And it was pretty obvious that he had a great arm right from the start and that he had a big league future ahead of him. And I don't think anyone could have predicted he would have been pitching into his 40s like he has, but he's had a terrific career.
0-2 to Kurt Suzuki. Strike 3 call right on the outside corner. So Oliver works his way out of the jam. 7th inning stretch from Arlington. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. And by Warner Brothers Pictures, Dolphin Tale in theaters September 23rd. It's an 8-5 A's lead over the Rangers. The A's go to the bullpen. Faustino De Los Santos, a very hard throwing young right-hander. So De Los Santos takes over here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, the A's are very high on De Los Santos, who is 25 years old. And he can get it up there at 96, 97 miles an hour.
Who was the right-hander the A's had in the bullpen the last couple of years? Was it Henry Gonzalez?
Rodriguez.
Henry Rodriguez. That he had a great arm too. Yeah. They've had a lot of hard throwers out there in the bullpen.
He got traded to Washington for Willingham.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
De Los Santos was acquired from the Chicago White Sox, and it was the Nick Swisher trade. Remember, the A's traded Swisher to Chicago, and they got Gio Gonzalez, Ryan Sweeney, and Faustino De Los Santos. That one's ripped by Kinsler into the left field corner. So Kinsler has a leadoff double.
I don't think you need to know anything else other than watch this and see why Ian Kinsler has been so hot. He can turn on any fastball. That's a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, tailing in, maybe off the plate, up and in, and he hits this right on the perfect part of the bat and rips a double down the left field line. That's about as quick a bat as you can have right
there. Most guys would get jammed on that and hit a little pop-up.
You'd see the end of the bat flying out toward shortstop.
So that is impressive. So here's Elvis Andrus. So I guess the question is, do you think you can hit a fastball? Check Kinsler out.
That's some kind of swing right there. And that's why he's hit 15 home runs since the All-Star break.
0-1 to Andrus. And that one over his head to the backstop. And going to third is Kinsler. The ball hit the brick and bounced right back past home plate. But that was up over the head of Elvis Andrus.
Now it's hard to tell when a pitch is that far off target, but I think this is an off-speed pitch. Obviously slipped out of his hand. Elvis is getting out of the way. I think he had a little extra time, not a lot. It was 83 miles an hour instead of 99 miles an hour.
Just a bit outside, so 2-1 the count now. Andrus is 1 for 3. He had a double back in the third inning.
De Los Santos has struck out 38 batters in 28 innings, so he has been a pretty good strikeout late reliever. Didn't get the call on that low fastball, borderline pitch.
Well, if he can just harness it a little bit, he has a chance to be a pretty good reliever. You wonder if, you know, the pitch goes over a hitter's head, Tom, and does that affect getting close pitches later on in the at-bat? I think sometimes it can.
Yeah, it can.
And there was some close pitches, but Andrus takes him a bit outside, and there's 2 on, nobody out, and here comes Josh Hamilton, so this will get the crowd to its feet.
There's nothing wrong with the arm. He's got a great arm, but as is the case with a lot of young pitchers in a great arm, you still have to harness it. You still have to develop the command within the strike zone. A little word of confidence right there from the manager. Let's go get him right here, kid. Well, you've got a tough situation. You're hanging on to a 3-run lead, and now you've got the middle of the lineup coming up. Hamilton, Young, and Beltre.
Hamilton is 0 for 3. And the first pitch, and it's, well, you know what? By the look of Bill Miller, the fact that he's limping, I think that kind of tells you what happened. The ball hit Miller, and it may have saved the A's for now at least, because that ball was headed to the backstop.
It does take away the possibility of a double play. Yeah, with the spin on that ball, it bounced back to our right and hit the umpire. Otherwise, it goes back to the screen.
Well, I thought foot, but maybe in the knee area.
Yeah, it looked like it came up and hit him. You know, who knows if that ball bounces high enough and stays at the screen. Obviously, Kinsler would score from third, and as aggressively as Andrus runs the bases, he might have gotten to third himself. Well, that was fortunate for the A's, even though they lost the possibility of a double play.
So Andrus to second, Kinsler stays at third, and the count is 1-0 to Hamilton. He drives one toward the left field foul pole, and it's just foul. Well, he can leave the yard in any direction.
Yeah, he can. That one wouldn't have been out by much, but it would have gotten the front row anyway. Just sliced to the left of the foul pole.
That one at the knees for a strike. Hamilton didn't like it.
Well, he didn't get the borderline pitches to Andrus, but he gets a borderline pitch right there. Suzuki had to reach all the way back to his right to catch that ball. That's how far he missed Suzuki's original target by.
That one is there with a breaking ball, and Hamilton could not pull the trigger. That was a strike. The other one, I'm not so sure.
Take a look at the pitches from De Los Santos to Hamilton. First pitch is a breaking ball, way wild. High fastball, hit foul down the left field line. Then a borderline fastball for a strike. And then a hard breaking ball down and in for a strike. Last one looked like a decent pitch. One before it didn't. But De Los Santos gets a big out right there, striking out Hamilton with men on second and third.
Here's Michael Young. So this Rangers lineup, it just keeps coming at you. You get Hamilton, but you can't take a deep breath because Michael Young, and then Beltre comes out into the on-deck circle. One-0 pitch is driven left center field, and that's going to get down for a base hit. It's going to bring home a pair. Young comes through. It's 8-7.
Young drove in 4 runs in the game last night, 3 of them on a bases-loaded double. And it's just a great example of you can throw the ball as hard as you want, 96 to 99 miles an hour, but if you hit the middle of the plate, good big league hitters are going to take advantage of it.
So we got a pitching change. Rangers have cut the lead to 1. In the bottom of the 7th inning. So Bob Melvin to the bullpen again. He brings in his setup man, Grant Balfour, who has had a very nice year for the Athletics. And I think Bob Melvin would have liked to have been able to bring Grant Balfour in the 8th inning, but sometimes the game is decided earlier than that.
I think that's exactly right. I think he wanted Balfour for the 8th, but clinging to a lead right now, he can't afford that luxury. He goes to him here in the 7th inning. Balfour doing exactly what the A's hoped he would do when they went out and signed him. Opponents are hitting less than 200. Not many walks, a strikeout per inning. He's been a very good setup man for a number of years. He's done a great job for the A's this year as well.
So Balfour will face Beltre. Good matchup here. And a big afternoon for Beltre. He's got 2 singles, a home run. It was a 2-run shot, and he scored 2 runs. And that's a strike on the outside corner. home run made it an 8-5 game. Michael Young's 2-run singles made it 8-7.
Started him with a fastball on the outside part of the plate that Beltre thought was outside. Comes back with a fastball on the inside part of the plate that Beltre thought was a little bit inside.
Well, there's your hitter's complaint.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't give the pitcher both sides of the plate.
That's what the hitter will say. The plate can't be that big. They both can't be strikes. That's famous last words of a hitter.
And you know what? That's a fair argument from a hitter.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't think it's necessarily caused an umpire to change his mind on it, but at least you get your thoughts across to him.
Beltre with 21 home runs and 85 runs batted in. And he chases a high fastball.
I think that's what Wash is talking about right there when he talks about Beltre going up there and being aggressive with the bat. That's an 0-2 fastball. Probably a foot out of the strike zone. Beltre still got the bat on the ball.
Now the offensive numbers for the Rangers when they play right here in this ballpark. Most runs, best slugging percentage, second most home runs. And from a record standpoint, they have the second best record at home in the American League. The Balfour is going to get a couple big outs, but 2 more runs for the Rangers. Michael Young gets RBIs 96 and 97. We're going to the 8th. 8-7 A's. An 8-7 lead over the Rangers. Mike Adams comes in out of the Texas bullpen. Adams pitched 2/3 of an inning last night through 15 pitches, gave up a run. I think he gave up a home run to Hideki Matsui in last night's game. He'll face Sizemore, Weeks, and Pennington.
Yeah, Adams has given up 4 runs as a Ranger. They've all come by way of the home run. 3 home runs he's given up.
Well, you look at what the Rangers did to shore up their bullpen at the trade deadline. They got Adams, who's a terrific setup man. O'Hara from the Orioles, who's having a very good year. And then we saw Michael Gonzalez. So that's 3 pretty good relievers to add at the trade deadline.
Yeah, you have to give the Ranger front office a lot of credit for that. They identified a need as you came down the stretch, and they went out and filled it with 3 quality guys.
When O'Hara and Adams, they will be with the Rangers next year as well, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons the Rangers were willing to give up the 2 pitching prospects that they gave to San Diego for Adams was the fact that they would be able to keep him for next year.
It's a bit off the plate. Count is even at 2-2.
The speculation at the trading deadline was that the Rangers might get Heath Bell, but they weren't willing to give the same quality prospects up for him because he could be a free agent. The pitch looked a little bit outside to Sizemore.
Another close pitch. That's the full count.
That's the cutter that Adams throws. His fastball will be 93, 94. Throw a slider in the low 80s, a cutter 88 or 89. Cutter really is his out pitch, his best pitch.
And there it is, and Sizemore takes it. Strike 3 call. And that's the first out. Time now for today's Burger King mini moments. It has to do with the A's defense. It was very poor last night. It's been very good today. And quite frankly, Tom, if the A's don't play defense today, they're losing this game.
Yeah, there's 2 really good plays by the outfielders in an inning in which the Rangers scored some runs. And that's with a man on third base. Gentry's line shot to Willingham was hit really hard. Maybe a little more athletic than Willingham needed to make it, but the point is that was a hard hit ball that Willingham caught for the last out of that inning.
I gotta remember too, that's on the heels of the performance last night where the A's made 3 errors and allowed 5 unearned runs, and they played extremely poor last night on defense.
Well, they came out today and took batting practice inside and took defensive fielding practice outside. And I won't suggest that by taking defensive practice outside that's why they made the plays today. But I know if you're that man right there, you're very happy to see the turnaround defensively. It's very frustrating for a manager to see your pitchers making pitches and have plays that aren't made behind them. And that happened all night long last night.
2-0 pitch to Jamal Weeks is right on the outside corner. Weeks is 2 for 4. He was also 2 for 4 in last night's game. So 3-1 to Weeks, trying to get aboard with Pennington in the on-deck circle. When you play the Texas Rangers, I think anytime after about the 4th or 5th inning, adding on runs should be your motto, because you know that they're going to come back. And the A's would like to add a couple runs here late. Weeks way out in front.
Weeks did something to his hamstring, I think, when he swung at that ball. Look at that, he got a cramp. He turns on that fastball and hit it hard in foul territory, but you can see him.
Maybe a cramp, huh?
Yeah, grabbing the back of his leg. Take another look at it as he strides in and takes a powerful swing. You can see his back leg straighten out as he favors it because of the pull he feels in what looks like his hamstring.
Well, he's going to stay in there as Bob Melvin and his assistant trainer Walt Horn trot back to the dugout. The count is full on Weeks. Strike 3 called. Weeks doesn't agree with Bill Miller, so both teams have had a little bit of a beef with the home plate umpire the last inning or so. It's time now for a DirecTV game break. Chris, you got a big Tribe home run for me?
I do. You know, Ian Kinsler's been red hot with 7 homers in his last 8 games. Not far behind is that man, Shelley Duncan, his 5th homer of the week. 9th of the year, ties it at 3. That's the way it stands right now in the 9th. Guys, the big news is before the game, Ozzie Guillen, who has 1 year left on his contract to manage the White Sox, says, not only am I going to be here next year, I'm going to be here the next 20 years. And to that I say, check back tomorrow.
That's a long-term contract right there. Well, Ozzie last week had said, if I don't get an extension to my contract, I'm not coming back. So I guess he's changed his tune. Now he's coming back for 20 years. I guess Jerry Reinsdorf might have something to say about that, and Kenny Williams.
Well, Ozzie's thought process tends to jump around just a little bit.
That's why they love him so much in Chicago.
0-2 the count. The crowd over 46,000 today here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, and they're getting into it. Adams trying to strike out the side. In the bottom of the 8th, it'll be Torrealba, Moreland, and Gentry. On the ground, in the hole, Andrus guns it across, and they just get Pennington at first. 3 up and 3 down inning for Mike Adams. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 8-7 Athletics. Now get DirecTV's best offer of the year. And by Sprint, all together now. 8-7, the A's lead the Rangers, but the Rangers always seem to have magic in this ballpark. A lot of late game heroics, and they'll try to do it again as they enter the bottom of the 8th, trailing by 1. They were down 8-3. First pitch to Yorvi Torrealba is a strike from Grant Balfour. Adam Rosales comes in the game at second base. Remember Jamal Weeks grabbed his hamstring a little bit in his last at bat. And a quick 0-2 to Torrealba. Torrealba's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Balfour came in the 7th and got the final 2 outs. Balfour, the A's do have high quality setup guy in Balfour and a very good closer in Andrew Bailey. And there's the closer for the Rangers, Neftali Feliz. 1-2 pitch is lined to right center field, and that's a base hit. So the tying run is aboard, and let's check in again with Chris for a DirecTV game break.
Glenn, we got drama in Motown. Brandon Inge, designated for assignment mid-season, went down to the minors, but here it is, a walk-off homer for the second straight Saturday on Fox. That coming off of Glenn Perkins. Hats off to you. The Tigers have won 8 straight. They lead the Tribe by 10 games in the AL Central. Good to see for one of baseball's good guys, Brandon Inge.
Indeed. So the Tigers are smoking hot. Not only 8 in a row, but 18 out of their last 22 they have won. So they are marching toward the postseason. Got a pinch runner. Esteban Herman is running for Torrealba. Mitch Moreland takes the first pitch for a strike. This Herman. Well, the last time the Detroit Tigers were in the postseason, they beat the Athletics in the American League Championship Series. That was 2006. They have not been back since.
A pretty nice job of hitting by Yorvi Torrealba. Got behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Get that high fastball to right field. Herman is a good base runner, good base stealer for that matter.
Moreland hits a shot, caught, double play. Just like that, 2 outs. So Brandon Allen grabbed it. He looked like he was in foul territory, but he just had a step on the bag.
Not much you can do about that if you're the base runner. You just don't have time to get back.
So that's 2 outs, and we're going to get a pinch hitter, and it's going to be Napoli. Tom, you said at some point late in the game we're going to see Napoli, and here it is.
Yeah, really, you can't wait any longer for Napoli because the other guys coming up won't be pinch hit for. Napoli in last night's ball game kind of put the finishing touches on it with a ball. There's no wind, no jet stream last night. He hit that ball over the Ranger bullpen 425 feet. Generally a spot where you think a left-handed hitter hit that ball. The kind of power that he's got to hit the ball 424 feet in that direction.
He's scary.
But you've got Kinsler, Andrus, Hamilton, top of the order coming up after this spot in the lineup. So this was the spot that Ron Washington had planned to use Napoli.
Napoli with 26 homers last year with the Angels. But he hit just 238. That may be the difference this year. Just seems like Napoli's a better overall hitter.
Well, he is. His OPS, his on-base percentage plus slugging percentage is an even 1,000. And his on-base percentage is 398. So, yeah, he's just an entirely different hitter right now. He still has the power, but now he's a good hitter. 300 hitter, tough out, works the count, takes a walk.
Yeah, it seemed like in years before, if you made a mistake, he would get you. But you could get him out if you made your pitches. Now it's a little bit of a different story with him.
I think it's a lot different now for sure.
And he's in a hitter's count at 3-1 with Kinsler in the on-deck circle. That one rolled towards Sizemore, and he throws him out. So Balfour gets the job done, and we're going to the 9th inning. And he's hanging on to an 8-7 lead over Texas. Rangers 8-7. The new pitcher is Neftali Feliz. So Feliz will try to keep the deficit at 1. He pitched in last night's game. The new catcher is Mike Napoli after his pinch hitting appearance. And Leonis Martin is the new center fielder. Leonis Martin. So Feliz will face Matsui, Willingham, and DeJesus. Feliz pitched a 1 inning last night, a couple of strikeouts. He threw 15 pitches. Well, Matsui ahead in the count 2-0. And a check swing. And it may have been a foul ball. Let's see if it got the bat.
Yeah, it looked like a foul ball the way it bounced off Napoli's glove.
Yep.
And the umpire.
Bill Miller, hang in there, buddy. There's the closer, Andrew Bailey. This one's skied, foul territory, and it's going to be Napoli, the catcher, who's underneath. So that is out number 1. Chevrolet proudly supports the great game of baseball at all levels. See how they're making kids' baseball dreams come true across the USA at ChevyBaseball.com. One out for Willingham. Willingham has been on base 3 times, 2 singles, and he was hit by a pitch. Well, that Angels game tonight against the Yankees. How about the pitching matchup? CC Sabathia and Danny Herron. And Sabathia will be trying to win his 20th. So that one's worth watching. Angels last night with a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 9th inning to win 2-1 to keep pace with these Rangers. Swing and a miss. 3 pitches. Willingham strikes out.
But one of the things that Felice has been working on is his off-speed pitches. And in that at bat, he threw a slider and a couple of curveballs and made Willingham look bad on that last swing. Well, the fastball has always been there. Last night he was throwing 101 miles per hour. And that's a good sign for Felice right there in that at bat for Willingham, because he used his off-speed pitches really well.
Oh, 1 to David DeJesus. In the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be the top of the order for the Rangers. Kinsler, Andrus, Hamilton. If anybody gets on, Young. So as it always seems to be when you play the teams with the good offenses, you get to the 9th inning, top of the order.
There we go again.
That breaking ball stays high. .97 miles an hour. Remember when Feliz came up? He was triple digits. He's backed off a little bit, but still throws very hard.
Yeah, you see the 100, 101 occasionally, not every time out. Last night it was there. And sometimes it's more 95, 96-ish.
He walks to Jesus with 2 outs.
Center fielder Ryan Sweeney.
It's the 3rd walk issued by Rangers pitchers, and that'll bring up Sweeney, who's had a very good game. And a triple, a walk, reached on a fielder's choice and singled. So he's been on base all 4 times. He's scored twice and knocked in a pair. And again, out of the strike zone. Outfield shifted around to left center for Sweeney. Not a guy who really pulls the ball a whole lot, although he did in the 2nd inning, and that was the triple that knocked home 2. More of a opposite field hitter.
Yeah, he'll probably hit the fastball the other way and occasionally pull the breaking ball. And that ball that he pulled for the triple was a slider on the inside part of the plate. It was up a little bit above the knees. Ogando was trying to throw it down to maybe get him to swing and miss it, a pitch a little bit out of the strike zone, but it stayed up. And that was the kind of ball that Sweeney could pull.
See, there's that fastball a little bit in, and that's the one Sweeney probably can't quite get the head out and pull it. But he will fight it off and battle it.
The thing that will determine whether or not Sweeney becomes an everyday player is if he can develop a little bit of power.
A little bit.
A good-looking athlete. A lot of things he can do well. Let's see if he is able to develop that. What a terrific play in center field today, defensively out there.
Yeah, he's a very good outfielder. Just got a piece of that one. And Sweeney's been in the league for a while. Been in the league on a regular basis since 2008 with the A's, so this is his 4th full season in the big leagues. DeJesus takes off, pitches outside. Napoli's throw, it sails a little bit, and DeJesus is going to have a stolen base. So for David DeJesus, it's his 4th steal of the year. Brandon Allen is in the on-deck circle. Allen has been really struggling, and he's 0 for 4 in today's game. And again, Sweeney slices one that way. That's what he does. He just battles you, keeps fouling him off to the left side. Seventh pitch from Feliz to Ryan Sweeney. Outside, and Sweeney has worked the count full. So this will be the 20th pitch in the inning for Neftali Feliz. And Sweeney, little pop-up shallow center field. Andrus makes the catch. Side retired. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Put your seatbelts on. Top of the order coming up. game-changing moment. It was the top of the 6th inning. Scott Sizemore pinch hitting with the bases loaded. And he clears it. It was a grand slam for Sizemore. It turned a 3-3 game into a 7-3 A's lead. One Day Men encourage you to change your game when it comes to health and wellness. Visit changeyourgame.com to check out exclusive video from the pros. Andrew Bailey, the closer for the Athletics, comes in. He's 19 for 21 in save opportunities this year. And he's going to have to go to work against the top of the order for the Rangers. Kinsler, Anderson, Hamilton. First pitch is in for a strike. Bailey has struggled in this ballpark. Gave up a walk-off earlier this year. That was to Josh Hamilton.
I think that was the last time that he pitched in this ballpark. Last time the A's were in Arlington.
He's ahead of Kinsler 0-2. Fastball is high, 95 miles an hour. Bailey, very hard thrower. And now 2-2.
Well, that's the pitch that I was talking about earlier with Kinsler. A lot of hitters, after they've seen 3 mid-90s fastballs, have a very hard time laying off that slider. Kinsler is able to do that. He's got such good bat control. That was a strikeout pitch. Bailey was trying to get him to swing at that pitch a little bit out of the strike zone, but Kinsler was able to take it.
Well, he had a good swing there, fouled it straight back. So you take the breaking ball off the plate, and then you get the fastball to hit and foul it back. Kinsler is 2 for 3 today with a single, a double, a walk, and he scored twice. Two again, foul back. Kinsler is 5 for 7 in the series. That's a good look right there.
It is. I like that red with a green camouflage.
And they got good seats, and you know what? They deserve good seats.
They do. All around the league, you see that every single game.
2-2, and another foul ball back. So good battle here, Bailey and Kinsler.
You can tell that Bailey's got a good fastball, not just velocity-wise, but Kinsler's been in a great streak. Saw him the last time up hit that 99-mile-an-hour fastball from De Los Santos for a double. And he's following these balls off, and Bailey keeps coming right at him with his fastball.
That one way outside, missed badly. So give Kinsler credit. He's worked it back to a full count.
Yeah, he's in a position now where almost no chance that he's going to throw a slider right here. He's throwing 2 sliders, both of them out of the strike zone. That last one way out of the strike zone. 1-run game. Doesn't want to walk the leadoff hitter. If you're a hitter, you're pretty much locked into a fastball right here.
And he got a high fastball. He popped it up. Suzuki and Sizemore caught it.
Wow, what a catch.
It was a snow cone. He held on, and that's out number 1.
When you watch the way his arm bent as he reaches for this ball, he gets to the step, reaches, holds the ball in the top of his glove, gets a little help from Suzuki, and makes a great play. That's a big out for Bailey against a hot hitter. A lot of defense from the A's today. Not much last night, but a lot of defense today. It's been something that's helped them maintain the lead all day long.
Here's Andrus. Fastball for a strike. Andrus with a double and a walk today. He scored a run. Corner infielders are in. And there's that good fastball again. Yep, guys are just a shade late on it.
The Rangers just can't quite catch up with it. Fouled them straight back. Kinsler, 3 or 4 of them, and now Elvis.
So 1-2. Bailey ahead of Andrus. That one's chopped, and it's just fouled down the third baseline. Both teams under 500 in one-run games. Swing and a miss. So the fastball by Elvis Andrus, and that's the second strikeout, or the second out in the inning. Well, here comes Hamilton, and this was July 9th of this year. It was a 2-out, 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th inning, upper deck. And it gave the Rangers a 7-6 win, and it was a 4-game sweep of Texas over the A's in that series right before the All-Star break. So they meet again here with 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, and it's a 1-run game.
Well, Josh has been quiet today. Got a couple of strikeouts, a line out and a ground out.
And Hamilton goes around, and so the count is even at 1-1. Oh for 4, a couple of strikeouts for Hamilton. He's also hit a fly ball to center field and grounded back to the pitcher. So a quiet game so far for Hamilton. Strike with a fastball on the outside corner.
Yeah, good combination there. Slider down and in, fastball on the outside corner.
Like Kurt Suzuki wanted a high fastball. He got it, but it was up and away. Two-2 pitch is popped up foul. If Hamilton were to get aboard, Michael Young would hit. Fastball outside, and the count is full. The bases are empty. It's high, and he walked him. So the Rangers stay alive here in the 9th inning.
Well, it's probably a situation with 2 outs that if you're going to walk somebody, especially after Hamilton had hit a home run to beat him the last time he pitched here, it's probably not a terrible walk. The only problem that you've got is now you've got Young and Beltre coming up after Hamilton, and excellent speed on the bases.
Numbers for Young against Bailey, 0 for 6. Mikey Young 2 for 4 today, 4 for 9 in the series. He's got 6 RBIs in the last 2 games. And he bounces this one in the hole. Pennington backhands. The long throw to first. Allen with the stretch, and he's safe.
Well, it looked like the throw was there in time.
And Bob Melvin's got a pretty good trot heading out. He's going to argue with James Hoy.
And I wonder if Hoy made the call based on Allen's foot being off the bag. We'll see. It's a tremendous play by Pennington, who goes deep in the hole, throws immediately all the way across the diamond. About as nice a play as you'll see a shortstop make.
Well, Bob Melvin was hot. I'm surprised he didn't get tossed out. But let's see. Boy.
It looks like the ball is there. The question is his foot on the bag? It's tough to tell. Boy, if it is, it's pushing up against the side of it. Call went against the A's, but you can't take away.
Yeah, it looks like his foot is on there.
Yeah, it did. And it looked like the throw was there in time, away from the play that Pennington made. That was a beautiful play.
So Bob Melvin had a legitimate beef. It would have been the third out, and it would have been the ball game. Now the inning continues, and you got to face Beltran. And the first pitch runs inside. So you make the call, folks. What do you think? He's clearly out. It's just a matter of is the foot, Allen's right foot, on the bag. There it looks like it is.
Yeah, it does. The throw is there. And the foot, is it up against the base or is it not? The call went the Rangers' way on that play.
1-0 pitch. And there's a line drive into the glove of Adam Rosales. And that's how the ball game ends. So the Rangers, as they always do, they make it interesting in the bottom of the ninth. But Andrew Bailey works his way out of the jam, and the A's hang on and win it 8-7. So
yeah, very
Rangers,
entertaining game. Big hit by Scott Sizemore, the grand slam, and excellent relief work by Balfour and Bailey late in the ball game. The A's hang on and win a big one.
And in Anaheim, the Angels will have a chance to trim the lead if they can win tonight. So the final score, 8-7. Cahill the winner, Agondo the loser. We'll come back to Arlington and wrap it up in just a moment.